Alright, I'm probably live here, except you guys are probably watching a commercial if you're doing it live, so I'll wait for it. Pause. Brit Mart. Silverdale. Oh yeah, let me get my chat up before I forget. Waiting for people, waiting for people. Oh, it's Oxville. Oh yeah, you guys aren't looking at that, you're looking at me. Waiting for people, waiting for people. Alright, I'll give people another minute and then I'm going to start talking about stuff. Oh, there's Para. See what happens if I go under the bridge. Will it let me go down there? Yeah. Exactly the result I wanted. Hey, I know that town. Let me make sure I actually... Hey, I did go live. Alright. Yeah, this thing always takes forever to update, so I never know how many people are actually viewing. Hey, there's actually some people in chat, even though it still says 0. Greetings, Avatar! And let me get up and shut the door so my little dog cannot escape. Not that he would. And yes, I'm in weekend clothes. That means gym shorts with paint on it. I could show off the color of my daughter's playhouse by showing you these pants. Every time she sees me wearing these, she says, "Dad, when are you going to finish my playhouse?" When I get caught up on all my bugs. Yeah, a lot of populated towns around here. So today I'm going to be doing pretty much the same thing I've done. I've got a special thing that starts here in about an hour that I'm going to be doing that I won't say what it is. Some of you may know. But I'll be crashing a party. Oh, and I'm already falling behind. Looks like Cameron, good game, Raid 7. Thank you very much for bringing me some customers. And again, today I'm just going to be playing the game. I'd hoped to show off some dungeon stuff, but our QA build is having some problems right now. We're trying to enable IL2 CPP, which actually we turned it on. I downloaded the GM version of the client and did something exciting just happened. Skeggy Media is now hosting my stream with the viewer. But tried the client. It actually plays smoother, fewer hitches. In my worst CPU spots, where I normally get fairly low frame rate, it was higher frame rate. And thank you, Ashen Die. So better frame rate. Hitches were not noticeable at all. And everything seemed groovy. I zoned about 10 times. Thank you, Christ Pallid, for joining our stream with the one viewer. But I zoned about 10 times, played for about 30-40 minutes. Memory seemed to be pretty flat. Performance better. Hitches down. Everything seemed glorious. For once I cheered Unity and said thank you. And then I tried the player version of it, and the player version crashes on load and won't actually get into the game. So we're looking into what's different between the GM version and the player version. So, anyways, hopefully we're going to have that out. Oh, this is very exciting. That's a lot of skulls there. Catherine Rose. I wonder if I'm in there. Gradios. Ernest, Stoffel. But anyway, so hopefully we will at least get to try a version with IL2 CPP turned on. It's one of the new performance features in Unity that previously had been unstable. It seems to be more stable now. We just got to figure out what this one problem is that's different between the client, the GM client, and the player client. And then we'll get those out. I think I've probably got some questions here. Dubswab says, hey, question, are pitchforks going to be salvageable for patterns and recipes? I thought they would have already been. I'll make sure that there's a JIRA on that. I'll JIRA that up right now. And for those who don't know, if you're new to the streams, several important things. One, you can see my amazing dog down there in the bottom left-hand corner. That is Mojito. Oh, got some network cables here on the floor. Let me turn. He is actually there to block my chat, so in case people send me private messages or something. Sorry, distracted by a message there. Somebody telling me that something was the coolest thing ever in a game. Thank you. But he's down there to block the chat. I will be reading questions off the Twitch chat, answering those as much as possible. I will be, assuming I run out of questions to answer, which I rarely do because I usually blather on about them for way too long and get off on too many tangents. But I'll actually be doing some playing and some checking some things out. Also, still, I'm going to be doing the same stream special that I've been doing. I may not pack it on air just because that ends up eating up time, and today I'm going to be stupidly busy, more so than normal. But the specials are, while I'm streaming, if you live in the United States and you buy an $85 crown bundle, or crowns, the 10,750 crowns or whatever it is, if you buy one of those during my stream, I will get your address and send you a coin immediately. The others already gone out. Some people may have already gotten their first round of stuff, or it'll be in the mail today or yesterday. If you buy two of those, if you buy two of the $85 packages, I'll go find a t-shirt for you and ship you a t-shirt. So I think we're down to, I'm going to dig through the boxes some more later, but I think we're down to, we have small, mediums, larges, and extra larges. We don't have any 2XLs, so just a heads up in case you were wanting to get a t-shirt. But we do still have plenty of XLs, larges, smalls, and a bunch of different varieties. Hold on, telling people I'm streaming. Alright, here I am in game. Here's Para. Para's informed me that he is a fan of The Fall. I am also a fan of The Fall. I can take a tiny bit of credit for it. I did for those who don't know, I guess introductions for those who are new to the stream. I'm Chris Spears. I go by Atos in the game, which it took Richard at least 3 years to figure out that Atos was actually soda spelled backwards, which makes it even more fun to tell the story of where I came up with the name. But I'm Atos in game. I am the tech director for the project, but I do tons and tons and tons of other stuff, as most people on the project know. And that was actually one of my experimental maps that I made for trying to figure out how to better improve our map building processes and show off some cool features. Is one of the maps in the game right now called The Rise, which is absolutely zero art talent, but it shows off some design challenges or design talent stuff, like how to take existing pieces and put them together in more interesting ways. And then the one that Para was just saying was his favorite was The Fall, which is the sequel to The Rise, but it's a PvP only map, which I started, but Travis deserves most of the credit for the details and making it look cool. Pulled out some of my cool ideas, but honestly the stuff I had in it was, the version I had was entirely too large. It was twice the size of what it is right now, probably more than that. It basically was, for those who want the history, it was the giant shaft in there. It was two of those shafts that were parallel, and then there were multiple different ways connecting them, including some maze stuff. There was one connection level with invisible walls. Then it was more also based on the mushrooms that are in there. Anyways, very cool map. And I'm falling behind on questions. Pitchforks, yes. Let me finish that jur on pitchforks. Hold on, and for those who do not know, while we do these talks, not only do I answer questions, but sometimes I'll fix bugs on the spot. If not, I'll write them up, or at the very least, I'll take a note on them to consider. Done, added. That was me adding a task for pitchfork patterns, so you can break down pitchforks and get them. I'm surprised that's not already in there. Christ Pallet asked, not sure if you got the question last stream, but can we get a candle to wall candle recipe for the millions of candles we get as loot? Yeah, I know you guys get tons of candles as loot. Like just a wall candle for player housing should be no big deal. That's one of those that you probably should take. Well, if we have the art. I think we have the art for some type of player candle. And if not, we have something we can probably rig up in it. Let me add that to the wish list. Wall candle recipe. Deco uses dropped candle. Got it. Oh, and let's see, I already got Ashen Die. Thank you very much again, Ashen Die. Let's see. Oh, Skeggy Media says test server worked for me. Okay, even killed the death of my. Yeah, that's because I tested it out this morning, and it worked great on the GM version and was trash on the player-facing version, so we did not publish it. Let's see. ISV Rada. Good day, Chris. We still have some wrong tooltips for skills. Can we expect to see some tooltip fixing pass made before episode 2? I hope so. I think those are tasks. Star looks at our task list and deprioritizes, moves ahead things he doesn't want us to be distracted by. Those are things that he probably would move because they're probably marked as a low priority. but I actually like those because they're pretty trivial fixes. So hopefully, yes, I will get to those things. I've looked at my task list recently, and I don't have any on there right now, and I know that there are some, so they probably just got pushed. But I'll try and take a pass at those, and hopefully not push those one of these releases soon. Let's see. For DDROX, let's see, Adrox, maybe? That's what that's supposed to be. Need more places like Fall. How about we make the Shard Falls more interesting and not so empty? Yeah, that's, I don't, Shard Falls are one of those things that I get the fiction, but there's a lot of stuff that's just not fun. I mean, it's a big open field. There's not anything that makes it a fun PvP space. If it were more more rewarding, that would be one thing, but it's not really, there's not that much reward to it. It's really just another zone that happens to be, oh, by the way, it's all PvP flagged. Not that much interest or challenge or reward. So totally get it. The Fall has got lots of cool stuff to it and forces lots of interesting PvP situations. Mishakal, question, can you check into the weight of essences? In R63, the Lich essence weighed 2 pounds, which seems excessive. I noticed this if you watched on the stream the other day, on the Friday stream. I wanted to turn off God mode so I could fight the bunny and see how tough the bunny was. Not as tough as I remember, but I think it's because we were fighting them in a cramped space. But I turned off God mode and was immediately overcumbered, and I looked and it's like, I think I had 1,600 Lich essences because I was doing some testing. And immediately was encumbered and had to go delete 1,600 Lich essences on the stream. Yes, that's one of those that's quick enough for right now. Let me do that. I'm doing it now. Let's see. Give me 1 minute. But I think 0.1 is probably a little bit better essence weight. And while I'm at it, I better change the troll essence and kobold essence. Thank you for the reminder. Love the easy ones like that. Let's see. Let me save that and check it in, and that'll be done. Waiting on Unity, waiting on Unity, waiting on Unity, waiting on Unity. Alright, I'll just come back to that in a minute. Let me go ask a question here, or answer a question. Mandalar 2 times 10,750 purchase, crowns purchase, woohoo! So I'm gonna do those at the end of the stream. Last time I was actually pulling and trying to get stuff in there. I'll email you after the stream. It looks like you didn't use PayPal, probably. So that means I'll have to email you and get address and shirt size. So expect an email shortly after the stream ends, which I'm planning on going to, well, I'm planning on going to about 3, but we'll see how it goes. I think my 2 o'clock event may keep me busy for a while. And thank you very much. I'll make sure that I send out the emails in the order that they came in, so you can get first choice on shirt size. And yes, I'm still waiting on Unity, by the way, in case you guys are wondering. Aha, just finished up. Submit. Reducing Lich, Troll, and Kobold essences from 2 to 0.1 pounds weight. And who asked that? That was Mishkal. I will put your name in the check-in. Submit. There you go, guys. Let's see. moving off there. Waiting for it. Solipsistic lemur. Solipsistic lemur. There we go. Can we pattern over Kabbalist hoods? These are things that I don't know why you can't. I thought people were patterning over Kabbalist hoods. Maybe I didn't understand how people were using them and they're just enchanting them. But maybe. I'm trying to think of what the why that hasn't already been done. I'm sure people would be correcting you if not. Hold on, let me add this to my investigate list. And again, a lot of these things, there's a lot of things I'm responsible for. If I'm not directly responsible for it, like the patterns, that is a Beezus thing. So I'm not sure what his logic is for when he chooses and not pattern stuff. It's usually probably more of a did he have time to get to it thing, because as you might imagine, he's busy. He's so busy he can't even do live streams. Let me write that down. Kabbalist hood patterns. Got it. Let's see. Going down the list of questions here. Again, I'm getting a little better at streaming. I know it doesn't seem possible that I'm better than I was, but I actually am a little better at streaming. But I still kind of suck sometimes and just get distracted by chat. But it's because I'm reading through the chat and I don't have anybody calling questions for me or anything. Yinky1 says, is there loot attenuation if I hunt the same mob or same area for too long? If so, can we get an alert to know when we're being attenuated? There should not be loot attenuation. There is a... this is one of those things that's come up a few times I think people get confused on. And yes, I need to change out my chair for one that squeaks less. If you guys can hear that. We have code because we're a small team and we don't have like a full-time CS or IT group or anything like that. Anybody to watch the game and metrics on a 24-hour basis. We have a lot of safeguards built in that basically start attenuating or locking loot if it goes over certain values. As of at least a few weeks ago, there's only one person who had ever hit that, and he was hitting it pretty much every day. And he's kind of one of those guys we watch and see, what is he doing today? Because he's going to do whatever is the absolute most optimal. But in general, there's no loot attenuation of that sort. There's experience attenuation that can hit if you get past 1 million experience points. But that is also one where we're evaluating what we're going to be doing with that and how we're going to be changing that. It has to have some change to it. I hate how it works right now. It's not the math that I originally designed. The math I originally designed was, you get full experience points until you hit 1 million, and then it slowly starts curving off. But the way it was implemented as just to reduce CPU use on the server and how much we had track on the server, is it pretty much goes up and then it flat lines your experience once you hit 1 million. That's never how it was intended to be. So we will have to look at some other system to improve that going forward, and that is on my list, and I do keep a task open for that. I just haven't figured out a good compromise for that yet. Yes, Mimosa after midnight. My dog there is awesome. That is Mojito. He is not a malformed fetus or whatever you said he was. He's an Italian Greyhound who sleeps a lot while I'm on the stream because he likes being near his dad. Right, buddy? Wow. Barely a flinch. Got him to open his eye at least. But he's my sidekick during the day now that I work at home. Let's see, and also you can find Mojito in the game in Owl's Head on the Bridge. Question. Most summoned pets have a very weak attack. Is that because they're magical attacks and missing the int bonus? That is one of the things that I need to look at. that I discovered with the demon attack, which the demon actually does pretty decent damage because he attacks physically like does his normal attack, 7 out of 8 times. But then he does his magic attack and it was weak on high level ones. That is one of those things I'm going to go look at to make sure that things... I thought the fire elemental was kind of in line, but maybe not. It seems people are not willing to use the fire elemental. Most of those, none of them probably have an int bonus. And my guess is that they actually are on the old hard-coded numbers for their magic attack. When I've looked at them in the past few releases, the thing I've looked at is their weapon attack to make sure their weapon attack was effective, but did not even really look at their magic attack. But making sure their weapon attack scaled, because some of them, those weren't even scaling. They were just hard-coded numbers. Let's see. So let me put that down to make sure I go and check that. And again, I'm getting more familiar with the stuff. That isn't stuff that I originally owned, but it's stuff that I've touched enough here lately that I'm getting more and more familiar with it and the problems with it. Summon pet int bonuses for magic attack damage. Alright. Yes, at Lancel 87, the plan, I have a JIRA in for making it so when you set your party loot, and you set roll, you can set what items you roll on. I'm a little reluctant to turn up the essence value, but that may be something I actually do here soon as well, just because it's something that it's pretty easy to go and farm those things. And if it's one thing turned up for Lich, where liches are pretty tough, and adding 25 gold onto a Lich is not a huge deal. But if I do it for those, and then like, hey, guess what? Now you're getting Kobold essences or some other essences that are on significantly easier things, and I make that the system that I use to mark whether or not it gets rolled on, like up the value of those things. It'll explode the gold market just because you can then go and sell them to merchants. I know you guys probably wouldn't, but it will screw up our metrics as well. So fair game. Dog window is bigger than my window. Yes, that's again, that's not because he's cooler than me, although he probably is. That is, I'm trying to keep my chat covered up, and that's how big my chat was. I could bump up mine. Hold on, unlocking mine. I can bump up mine a little bit so I can try and compete with him. There we go. A little bit closer. Almost as big as the dog. Alright, let's see. Moving on down. Let's see. Oh, you guys want to pattern over the hoods. Okay, I misunderstood that. Okay, got it. Let me update that. Okay, updated my note on that. Let's see. Fair Game asks, is that the same as a Whippet? That's referring to the small dog there. There's actually 3 greyhound sizes. There's the greyhounds, the big ones that everybody sees at the racetracks or whatever, that they run about 35 to 45 pounds. And then there's Whippets. They're the middle-sized ones. Those guys run maybe 20 to 30 pounds. And then there's Italian Greyhounds, which are the smallest ones, which run anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds. Mojito is an Italian Greyhound, 10 pounds. And for those who think he's a miniature Greyhound, it's not true. Greyhounds are actually giant Italian Greyhounds because they're the older breed. And actually, it was really something kind of more in between, like Whippets and Italian Greyhounds. That was really the first thing we hear. Yeah, so they're sight hounds. You actually see them in the Westminster Dog Show and all those. There's almost always an Italian Greyhound in the dog shows. It's one of the top dogs. We always watch whenever they're on, so Maxine can point out her dog. All right, I think I'm caught up on questions. Woohoo! Just a reminder to everybody, the other reason we're doing this is trying to get Twitch partners. I think we are Twitch partners. We applied for them. We had all the stats met by a mile. But again, to get more and more people exposed to the stream, because what I've been seeing is I'm running ads as well. But we get, like in the last week, we had almost 500 viewers come through our channel, like found us on the Twitch browse channel. So they didn't come straight here, like they didn't have a link to us or anything like that. They actually found us by browsing, which to me that's a likely person who will now see the stream, now see the game, and then see that all I'm doing is talking to you guys and standing in one place while you dance around me, and they will think the game is exactly what it is. Dance Party Simulator. All right, not quite. But anyways, they'll see a dev talking and think that's cool, and see some, hopefully some cool stuff in the background. For those who are new and are falling into that category of people who has never played the game and is evaluating the game, definitely go give it a try. Free to play. No credit card information or anything like that required. Not a trial, not anything. It's actually free to play. And the vast majority of players play it without ever spending a dime. Just a quick refresher on that. Part of that is because our money model is we do have premium currency in the game and an in-game cash shop, which uses premium currency. But unlike other games, our premium currency, 1, drops in game, and 2, can be traded. So kind of our money model is that we acknowledge that the general rule for these type games is there's players who are more whales, who spend a lot of money, and who would rather spend money than spend the time going and doing stuff. So those are the guys, the idea is that the whales kind of feed the economy with premium currency, but everybody can benefit because then they end up on vendors, which is the player merchant. So the players can put stuff up there. So they actually can go around and find lots of different vendors with premium currency on them that you can buy for gold just straight out of the game. So anyways, that's our money model. The several reasons for that is we don't sell gold, so this is an important thing. It lets us make money off the game without inflating the economy in a direct manner, because instead of it being us, you give us $5 and I give you 5,000 gold, it is you give us $5, we give you 500 crowns, and then you can sell that to other players, which sounds like it's making gold, but really what it is it's gold changing pockets from that guy's pocket to that guy's pocket, and that does not inflate the economy. So anyways, it's a very friendly model, I believe, for most players out there. If you're into housing, we continue to shift more and more stuff in housing towards the front of the game, and making it free. Not just premium currency that you could theoretically earn in-game, but actually making it so soon it'll be when you walk out the front door from the very first starter scene, you'll have the option to get a house and a lot right then, and get started being a homesteader. All right, let me get over here and look at some questions. Look like a few more showed up. Oh, and feel free to, here's my plug. Feel free to throw some bits, subscribe to the channel. The thing we really care the most about, though, is especially if you're a new person, follow the channel so you know when we go live, and you can see when we do special events. We'll do, hey, you just got to follow. Thank you, Nomad Nevermore. Looks like it hasn't shown up on the thing yet. Unless it's underneath my nameplate. And UK Dude 2 cheered for 100. There you go. I just gotta push you guys a little bit. Thank you guys so much. And that is the thing. The main reason we're doing these streams, primarily me, but I'm getting a few of the other people in there. Thank you, Nomad Nevermore, is to expand both our viewership on Twitch and also expand our player audience in game. So if you are also a streamer, this is a good thing, because the other thing is I will usually hopefully get 100 people or so watching. It looks like we're at like 93 or something right now. But at the end of my stream, I'll also, whoever's out there streaming Shroud of the Avatar, I'll go and raid one of those guys. It's a great opportunity to get a lot of fresh follows out of people. And for those who also don't know much about the game, right now I'm actually in a player-owned town. I didn't even know this was Antrax's town, Antrax's army. But this is a player-owned town, so it's actually run by a player, and they get to figure out how they get set up how the town is configured, and place lots and place all the decos and build out whatever they want to, and choose the type, decide whether it's a PvP town or a friendly town. Not that PvP towns aren't friendly, but you know what I mean. And decide who gets to live there. And they actually get to be the one, for players who want to roleplay, it's a big deal because it allows you to pick and choose who comes into your town, so you don't, get the guys doing some non-friendly, some really crappy deco stuff. For my performance side of things, like looking at this gives me a little heartburn here, all these skulls. But that is one of the good things. Some of the things that were added here recently that we do support now in our shaders are instanced rendering, which has made a huge difference. In fact, that's one of the things we're evaluating right now, is whether we're going to turn off another feature for performance, which is dynamic batching is what they call it. And it's all those things are tech things about reducing the draw calls, reducing the load on the GPU, how much gets sent to the GPU. Instancing is we send it basically one copy of those skulls. Let me point up the screen. One copy of those skulls, and then tell it draw it here, 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 here. Basically just tell it all the places draw it. Dynamic batching was the old system before instancing came online. That basically would build a list of all the polygons, and if you had 100 skulls, it'd build a list of 100 locations and stuff. So. But anyways, that should actually perform pretty well. This also reminds me of being out here on the waters. I really am not a huge fan of our water, but it's another one of those things we've tried to switch out a few times, and as much as we hate it, we haven't found anything better that doesn't cause other significant performance or rendering problems. Oh, and also for those players who are new to the stream, don't know much about it, all these guys around me you can check out. That is one of the things we do pride ourselves on, is letting people have unique looks and lots of different stuff that they can do with their outfits and customizing. We're a game, we try to focus on role playing, and we're getting more and more and more into that as we move towards episode 2 towards the end of the year. And we're going to be having one of the big things will be coming online will be programmable NPCs, so you can actually set up the dialogue for your own NPCs in your town. So you can actually, that's one step closer to having player-created quests. Right now there are player-created quests, but they're a little bit tougher for the players to do. You always have to end up picking up books and reading books and stuff like that. It'd be great if you guys could have the same tools that we have, and that is our goal for episode 2, is put a lot of that stuff in your hands. Let's see. Let me get over here and check some questions. Reading. Tree Walk. Oh, Tree Walk may be a person who did taking advantage of one of the specials. I'll go check the logs after this is done. For those who are joining in late and already fans of the game, or if you're new and you just started playing the game and you need an excuse to go buy some crowns, if you buy one $85 crown pack, then I will get your address and send you a coin. If you buy 2, and this is only during my live stream, if you buy 2, then I will send you a t-shirt. And this is only for American customers right now. Sorry. Again, I still have not found a good way to ship a t-shirt overseas without exploding the price. Anyways, if you buy one package, I'll send you coins and some other trinkets, office artifacts, as I call them. And if you buy 2, I'll send you a t-shirt, some coins, and then some other trinkets go in the box. And ship those off immediately. There may be even some people on stream who already have received their first round. And Turn Dis Soto, I just started streaming to promote the game. Love this game. We love you. And actually, in more ways than one. We do especially love the guys who are streaming the game just because it does expose the game to lots of people. If you're a streamer and you plan on doing a fair amount of streaming, get in contact with me in the forums or in game. Just mail me. I'm Chris in the forums. I'm Atos in game. And I will hook you up with some crowns or other items for giveaways so you can help use them to promote your stream. Because that's symbiotic in terms of it helps you guys and it helps us. So we definitely love that type of connection. And we love all the streamers. I see Sheldon there. There are a few other people. Elgarion, I think, was one of the people who crashed us earlier, raided us earlier. Let me get caught up on the questions again. Ehonda's question, does combat take body part where the hit into consideration for damage to just sum of all your equipped stuff? It is just the sum of all your equipped stuff. We actually at one point did experiment a little bit with some body part stuff to see if we can come up with the body parts and have multipliers and modifiers for that type of stuff. We've done that on some other games. I actually did, for those who played Tabula Rasa, I did the physics and targeting and line of sight and a bunch of other stuff for Tabula Rasa for the client server, but I actually set that up on Tabula Rasa. It made more sense on that one though, because that was very much arcadey targeting where you can really kind of hit some locations. So I like the idea, but it does not happen in our game. It's one of those things that when you start hitting body specific locations, it's either random, which isn't that much fun. It's kind of what critical hit is. If you want to pretend critical hit is, you hit them in the head or the groin or whatever. But then if you actually do it by visual, then it also is tough, because then we have to start looking at every single animation to make sure it's matching up with whatever thing. And then you also have the factor of, like, now I'm swinging it, if you're going to hit you in the head, and now I got to, like, okay, what about the size of the target? Anyways, lots and lots of challenges. So no, it is very much it hits you. It uses the sum of all your parts, all your armor parts. Let's see. Sharindi, okay, this question is going to out me a bit. If one has finished the Path of Truth, can the Aerie bring the key to Marlin quest be flagged finished, with Marlin mutter something about you making the wrong choice? I actually don't know what the quest stuff is. That's why I was saying it would out me. I know, yes, I'm a developer on the game, but the quests were not something that I was as passionate about. We do have some people on the project who are super passionate about it, probably the most passionate about it, and played it more than anybody else by a factor of 10 is Richard. So that is one definitely for Richard when we do one of the Friday streams when Richard's on. So save that thought. Carnarvon question, hey Chris, would a return to Novia program be a good idea for people who played briefly after launch and didn't continue for whatever reason? Tell them how much the game has improved and give them a freebie welcome pack or welcome backpack. That is one of those things that we've looked at doing. We have all those people's emails, obviously. We do use MailChimp and can handle sending out hundreds of thousands of emails. We have trimmed our list recently. That is one of those things where we trimmed our list because we felt like people were numb to it. We were looking at the open rates, and our open rates were extremely low for a large chunk of our audience. So at some point, we do plan on doing a return to Novia. There's actually some things we want to improve about the game before we have players return. So it's the same reason we were going to push this month to be the month where we push $1,000 a day advertisements. But again, there's a number of things we want to be better. The performance is one of those things that's still a turnoff to a lot of our users, and we had some possibly low-hanging fruit performance things we're trying to get done now. Some may go live in this release. Stability had actually dropped. We're working on that. The memory footprint had grown. Load times had grown a little bit. So we're trying to hammer all those things down, because some of these are things, obviously we can send out spam, emails people, 100 times or whatever. But you kind of only get 1 or 2 chances to recapture those people. And so we do plan on doing a recapture email campaign and attraction campaign, but right now it feels like we should wait. It's felt like this for a while, that we're just a release or 2 away from some really significant improvements that would make the game better for a lot of people. So that's why we have not done that type of recapture campaign. Concurrency is pretty much flat in terms of peak times and daily average users and all those things. I would love for that to be growing, which is hopefully with the push on streaming and some ads going out, hopefully that will start trending in a more positive direction. Let's see. First time visiting this chat. I think this is an amazing to interact with players this way. I think it's amazing to interact with players this way too. This is honestly how I get some of the real information, because a lot of times we get people report bugs, but if it's purely a monologue, you guys tell us something, we don't have a good way to get feedback. A lot of times it's not really clear what the real problem is. So having this type of one-to-many and actually reading your questions and giving you feedback and hitting every single question is super important. Let's see, and again, I've got an event that'll start here in about 10 minutes. Let's see. Tabula Rasa was a great game, Chris. Yes, it was. It makes me cry still. It's one of those, again, that was very close, but had so many things going for it. And it's one of those things, that was the second or third game that NCSoft shut down in the U.S. And then they had a few more that shut down. They kind of have a bad track record at this point. They've burned enough people that, yeah, I mean, I've heard people say they won't play an NCSoft game again because they don't stand by their games. And it was also one of those things, it wasn't that expensive to run the game. It was profitable and had an audience that was growing. It was one of those where, because that's one of the kind of a lesson in the old model, that was very much fell into the old model of game development, game publishing, which is when you are getting close to finished with the game, it's hard to tell. That last, as they always say, like the last 10% is both the most important and is always more than 10%, because you get there and so many things you want to change now that you got all the pieces together and you want to go fix them. With the old model of game stuff, where you put boxes on a shelf and you run big advertisements, like even on TV, not just websites and all those things. And when you're at a big company like that, the marketing department drives so much of the timeline and also the development cycle, because everybody answers to the marketing department and stuff. The marketing department answering to you. I mean, that's the same thing. I was at Acclaim as the technology director. I forget what my title was. Technology manager, that was it. Basically over the engine and some other stuff. But I'd go to the managers meeting. That was the thing. It was so frustrating, because the meetings were all about marketing. Came back and said that we need they don't like these 3 bullet points for the back of the box, and we need to come up with some more bullet point features. And so we're basing features on whether or not marketing thinks the features are suitable, are important enough, cool enough, will sell enough to be bullet points on the back of the box. I mean, it's really that level of micromanagement. The things that we know are fun, marketing may not agree with. But on Tabula Rasa, that was a big problem because it was one of those things where they insisted, they want a 6-month window. They want to know 6 months ahead, when are you going to ship? And when you say, we think we're 6 months out, okay, bam, you're locked in. Whether you like it or not, you're shipping in 6 months. Because they've done all the, taken all the Best Buy and Walmart guys out for strippers and beers to get your box on the shelf at those places. Yes, there is actually that type of stuff that goes on to get your box on a shelf at a Walmart and Best Buy. Is you got to suck up to the right people. There's the advertising campaigns that have to be planned. There's all the box and production that has to be planned because, hey, you're making an old school CD that's got to have everything burned on it. There's like all these things that start. So once you get to the point where you say, we think we're 6 months away, then you're locked in, whether you like it or not. And that was kind of one of those things that at Tabula Rasa was that big machine, marketing machine, started turning sooner than it probably should have, because there were just some lingering problems that ended up consuming lots of time. But there were a number of other problems with it as well, just some bad development stuff that was in there when I got there. So now I've talked about Tabula Rasa entirely too long. But that is one of those things. Probably the worst part on that was the entire game development was driven by a connection to a live database, and not in a good way. It was in such a way that, like, you could be sitting there doing something, you can make one change, and everybody on the team has that change propagated to them instantly because it's all connected to a live database. And then also, like, oh, we need to do a patch. Okay, well, one, there's like 4 layers of server, incremental server moving that stuff through. But then now you're talking about databases and like, oh, well, I got a schema change I've got to push all the way up through there. It became a full-time job for somebody just to manage the database change migration. So not only could you break everybody on the team, but then it also could make it so you can't do a patch because of random schema stuff. Let's see. Combat, let's see. Reading down. Kinroll says, I am Arca. I'm not sure if that's true. I love the performance you had been doing, and yes, agree, many I brought didn't stay due to the performance, but liked the game. And yeah, and that's one of those things, we still have ongoing challenges, like even with this latest client update, I was getting better performance and more consistent performance, but at the last dance party, like, some new performance things crept up. We had at the dance party before that, we had 100 people and maintained almost 30 frames a second with 100 people crammed into one space with their pets, and this last one was 63 people, and we weren't holding anywhere near that type of frame rate. So yeah, so there's a lot of performance stuff we would like to get to, and hopefully some of that is going to be fixed by some changes coming out here soon with Unity that will be opening up some more options. Hey, buddy. Sorry, looking at the dog. He's actually down there, but I look at him on the camera. Make sure he stays on camera. All right, let me get through here, and then I've got to get to my event here soon. Me 7777, just a random statement of I do or don't like EA. Greedy money grabs. That's shocking that probably someone who liked Ultimas does not like EA. That really surprises me. Let's see. I'm getting down there. Yeah, there's a lot of quest bug stuff. For those who haven't heard me talk about the plan, so the plan for episode 1 quest system, there's not a good way to rewrite it or pass it off to a new system. It was done as something that was supposed to be a simple quest system starting off, that was really just done through some random flags. but then the design requirements changed over time, and the system did not improve to handle a more complex set of rules. It just kept slowly growing and evolving and growing and evolving to the point that it's absolutely unmaintainable. So our plan for episode 1 is we're going to try to go back and fix the essential quest, and then just over time we'll hopefully fix up the main quest line, have all those pretty bulletproof, and then quests that are borderline, like they're buggy but they're not main story, we're just going to be removing a lot of those. And for episode 2 there will be a completely new quest system that is actually more data driven, more testable. That's for those who've heard me talk about, we have thousands of different integration tests and unit tests we run on things to make sure the game stays fairly bug free, even with the massive set of interconnections and massive data and a billion different ways to break things. Well, we've broken them a billion ways already, but we try to build tests when we have things like that where they break or are likely to break. The old quest system did not have any of that, and it shows, and really it's just unmaintainable. It's really, if you imagine scripting a quest system that was, and again, this isn't the fault of the guy who wrote it. He did an amazing job, and just the fact that it runs at all, given the rapidly changing design requirements, is impressive. And but it's really just a giant set of global variables that get set and unset based on various quest stuff. And it's not a system. It's kind of the opposite of the system. It's really ugly. But just because of its nature, there's not a good way to have some like, here, we'll go do a global fix and rewrite this part and make it all good. But we are adding tools so players can have a better way to report bugs in Quest. All right. Oh, looks like it may be time for me to go to my thing. Oh, supposedly I have 4 minutes to my thing. Let's see. Going down the list. G Panto, listen to me! I want to ask for zone beef PvP and drop Yuri and dig only in the PvP. You really? I'm not sure what that means. Drop you really? Man, I'm trying to translate this. G Panto, I'm trying to. I don't understand what that means. Yeah, I want to answer you. I just don't quite understand. Can you add new PvP? Hey, I've got something happened. Yay, a follow. Thank you to. And I'm behind. Horrible. UK Dude 2. I think I might have thanked you already for your 100 bits. Thank you. Nomad Nevermore, thank you for the follow, and Rapino Games, thank you for the follow. And if you are new to the channel, then absolutely that's the thing I really want the most from people is bits are fun, subs are fun. I want especially new people to follow so that they can have more exposure to this type of stuff, and it'll help bring more people. It's one of those wacky things on the world of Twitch is the more people that are watching something, the more people it'll be shown to. So you got to kind of try to get lots of people because it helps snowball. I've already been told that I have no chance of getting any type of snowballing effect unless I suddenly become a girl and quite a bit more sexy. But we'll see. It did sadden me today that like when I got on like the top 2 streams were a girl in a bikini playing a dance game. Not fair. I'll borrow the wife's bikini, see if that works for me too. Thank you, Oxnall TV. Oh, you only just now followed Oxnall? Uh-oh, it looks like it may be time. Oh, I'm late. Hold on. You are late. Reading. Okay, I gotta go to my thing. Here we go. Let me zone. This is another one of those things. Let me see if I can find the channel I'm supposed to be in here. Waiting for it, waiting for it. I think this is my channel.
Channel switched.
There he is.
Am I in the channel
Welcome.
now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, that was nice. I didn't know it did that. If you guys, when I zoned in, you were all standing, and then it all played the sit animation, which is cool. Is this my chair in the middle?
It certainly can be.
I sit where I want.
That's right.
Oh, a dancing cat. Mojito can do that. I'll get him to do that on camera sometime. He can actually dance on his back legs and do a little spin.
So put your box of questions behind you now. Because you're sitting in Luca's chair. And then I also have a box behind you, next to it, that's for answered ones you want to just dump out of your bag.
All right. And for those who are on the live stream and wondering what this is a guild that has invited me to come and answer questions at their meeting and take part of their meeting. This is also one of those things where I will remind people, same thing that I remind them when they ask, like, hey, why did the BMC get their own artifact? Which is, they got their own artifact because they asked for their own artifact. I'm here at this special event because they asked me nicely to come to the special event. So,
user joined your channel.
I need to find a way to mute that. But anyway, so I'm here because they asked me, if you want me at your guild event, your whatever, and you've got more than like a 3-person guild, send me, let me know, message me. I'd love to join in these things.
Yeah, only 2.
Yeah, but if you want to be quiet now, we're in the middle of the stream.
Okay, and now I'm actually holding down my button, so you guys can probably hear me talk, I think. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you great.
Yes.
We hear you.
All right, I'm going to open up some of these chests and get questions out. This is what we did last time, and it worked pretty darn well, so I think it's a cool thing. And again, as I was mentioning on the stream, love the role-playing aspects of the game and want to expand them as much as possible. Ooh, okay. Let me
just hit take all.
Let me first, let's see, try and figure out how I want to...
I will let you know that there are leftovers that you couldn't finish last time, and then there were some new ones in there. If anything is something you don't think you should answer or the timing is not right, just skip it.
All right, I was carrying a sack for my Happy Yule 2018 from Wind and Drake.
Oh, that's mine.
By the way, you still have Christmas gifts downstairs that you never picked up. So before you
I know.
get those. You've heard that a few times, haven't you?
Yes, I have. All right, so I'm going to start going over some of these questions here. I was trying to figure out a way to take the questions but not have them mingle in with all the other notes I have because I have tons and tons of other notes. So let me get into the first one.
If you want.
All right, so this question is asked on behalf of Dices, who could not be with us today because she is battling the undead in upper tiers. Oh, such a punishment. Is it known when we will be sailing our ships around Novia? It is not known. It is on the feature list for episode 2. We have got some proof of concept stuff for it. But it's not one that we've spent a ton of time on other than to prove out some of that stuff. And actually, I mean, you've seen sailing ships or moving platform type stuff in a number of things. The challenge is we still need to figure out just a few aspects of it, are in terms of how we're going to handle it for decos, and do we let decorated ships sail around, or when you're sailing, does it remove the decos? Just because there's a lot of performance implications and other tech implications when you're sailing, you're moving a ship, and you have all the decos out. So there's a chance it may turn into, you can sail your ship around, but the decos, until you drop anchor or something, the decos will be hidden or not shown to other players. So, anyways, yes, it is planned for episode 2. It is not in Q2 on the schedule that Star, I forget if he's released or not, but it is on the schedule for Q2, which means some aspect of it will go live before the end of the year, most likely. Next question. Would you like to talk about Tabula Rasa some more? Oh, I just did a ton of talking about Tabula Rasa on the live stream. I'm not sure how many people in this audience heard, but yeah, that was a project. That was the first project I worked with Richard on. And I actually came over, having been a tech director at a large company, and came over to be a programmer on the project. And they hired me in as just a programmer, but they pretty quickly promoted me to associate lead programmer, and offered me the lead programmer spot. But it was a challenging project because when I came on, it was 3.5 years in development, and there wasn't that much to show for it. It was one of those where really what I told people when I came in was my advice, as someone who's seen a lot of engines and a lot of projects, is to scrap everything and start over. But that really, again, just one of those marketing, general management type problems is, even though the wisest thing to do might be to scrap pretty much everything and start over, the management won't let that happen, because as soon as you say you want to scrap everything and start over, that's hey, that sounds like a good time to cancel the project if you're scrapping everything and starting over. So there were a lot of things, though, in the project that when I came on were bad that we just had to live with, and that crippled the project a little bit. But I came on at the reboot. I wasn't the reason for the reboot, but I was hired in the wave when they rebooted the project and went from the bards and music, everything, to and Oxnub TV. Thank you, Oxnull TV. Thank you for your sub. I wasn't the reason for the reboot. I was hired because they were doing the reboot and needed more people to help get things moving along. I was actually the guy that, without anybody asking me when I got there, the game was actually a 2D game, very much like Guild Wars or something, where everything was marked in 2D. And I went and I redid, my main task was to rewrite the physics engine to get it to be 1,000 times faster, is really what they told me when I came on, which I thought was a joke, but really it wasn't a joke. And when I did all that stuff and moved everything around, it wasn't that much harder for me to then take that and move it to be no longer 2D, but hey, how about if we break this out and we can actually, we can do things in 3D, which made a huge difference in the game. But again, that's when I got there. It was not much to show, only a few scenes, only 1 or 2 creatures that didn't work very well, and 2D movement, so you're tied to the ground. Just tons and tons of problems, and that was 3.5 years into development. So there were a lot of troubled aspects of it, but in the end, I think it turned into a pretty good game that got steamrolled by marketing, pushing the game out early. But it's still one of my favorite projects. Like, almost everybody on the project was, again, top notch and great to work with. Anyways, enough about Tabula Rasa. Old projects that failed in some way make me sad. So it's not.
Just as a side point, if you turn your camera, at least they can see the game.
Oh.
When you're standing, you've got your back to your audience, and you've got your screen covered up. Just saying.
Oh, I see. You want them to actually see the game. Okay, hold on.
I don't know. It seems like it might be a good idea.
Let me do that so they can actually see the people involved here.
You could pick up that whole box and put it in your container if you want.
Moving on here. Oh, that's my Christmas letter that was in here already. Merry Christmas. Are new combos going to be added to the game soonish? Yes, please, please. It seems to me only swords is fleshed out. For example, yeah, so swords, fire, and death magic are the 3 that really got fleshed out to a level that was close to what I wanted for them. Oh, I don't have my button down. So the question is, are new combos going to be added to the game soonish? And yeah, swords, fire magic, and death magic are really the three that got flushed out in a way that I considered to be pretty complete. Still, of course, want more and more on those things. But I think as people know, as I said earlier on the live stream at least, my hands are in lots and lots of stuff, and it is hard to pick my priorities. So that is one of those things that to me is a huge priority, but to other people it's not as big. And if it were just me involved with doing it, that I would be making combos like mad. In fact, I did for a while and got yelled at by both players and other devs included, because I can make the combos and I talk about them and like, hey, here's cool combos, this cool idea, and then it takes me no time to make them, and then it gets handed over, and then someone has to animate stuff for it, someone has to do VFX, someone has to do the icons for it, and then people get mad at me because now I did work that created something you guys hear about and really want, but then that to actually finish it requires a ton of other work. So I have not been doing many combos because of that. If you guys have been paying attention, Damon has been swamped with a million different things. Damon, art lead, and he's almost getting caught up on the stretch goal stuff from, I think he just finished up R61 and R62, a lot of it's done. So he's nearly caught up on that, and then he can get back to doing some other stuff. And that's the type of stuff he can do. Travis is actually, List Rostov is also a really good VFX guy, and he may actually be the guy that he and I sit down together and work on some stuff. But right now we're both swallowed up by multiple different things, including dungeons and episode 2 scene planning and episode 2 scene building rules and all those type of things. But I would love to get to them. I will get to some before episode 2. I just can't promise a time. All right, moving on to the next question. I have 40 odd gigabytes in the download folder in my installation folder. I'm happy to see the updates, but what do I need, or what do I no longer need to free up space? You can delete anything that's in the downloads folder after the install is done. You can continue, if you leave them in there, yeah, that's exactly what it is if you leave them in there, you'll continue seeding them. If you want to seed, there's a number of other easy ways you can do that and do a more full seed, which is you can run any number of different torrent clients, and you can connect to our seed RSS feed. So you can actually be one of the people that before the game actually goes live, we fill up all those, everybody running those RSS feeds, and then you help distribute the game to everybody on all the platforms. And then you can keep that anywhere you want to. And thank you for Turand is Soda for hosting me, joining the stream. So yes, the short version is, yeah, you can delete anything in that downloads folder. That's the last patches. It will stop seeding those torrents if you those files to other people. And actually, I guess that's an opportunity for those on the stream for me to give a quick chat about seeding stuff, which is and how we do our patching. Our patch client is actually a lot more efficient than Steam in terms of patch size. Steam, of course, is got some advantages to it in that they've got like 100,000 terabits bandwidth at all times and never get crowded on things. But the system we built, because we didn't want to be restricted in terms of patching or content or other things, sitting there thinking about, oh, we gotta, we're going to be pulling stuff from Cloudflare and it's going to cost us per gigabyte downloaded and send us to the poorhouse, because we are constantly patching and we're sending that data again from some other type of data source that costs per gigabyte send from. So we use a torrent system, and that's actually how we send everything out. That's how all the patches get done through the client. We use something called monotorrent and build everything we do. We build it for monotorrent, and then we host the monotorrent stuff. We keep a couple of 10 like we lease a couple of 10 gigabit torrent seeds boxes. That's kind of what we count on to do the majority of the work. And then a number of us on the team also have our own seed machines where we're fortunate enough here in Austin to have gigabit fiber most of the places. And so we can do gigabit seeds from our house, and that's like I've looked before, and I'll seed, my box will seed about 15 terabytes a month, so I'm pretty sure Google hates me. Sorry, Google. Next up, dungeon drop rates. Yay, dungeon stuff. I did this last time too. If you were sharp last time, you probably would have started your question with A or AA or AAA or something, so you can be at the top of the list, but I'm going alphabetically down the list of questions here, so I'm going to try to get through these. I'll try and speed up, because just like last time, and also like on my stream, I talk a lot. The dungeon counter pieces drop in areas with very little gameplay except the fall. Given that few people go into many of these areas where they drop, not many are available on vendors, and the market is pretty soft for them. This makes it hard to acquire them after the initial buzz. How about changing the drop rate so that hours don't turn into days when people want to get in or get one of the dungeon encounter rooms? I can increase the drop rate in those places, but really that'll result in farming. There will probably be something I'll probably end up doing, just get a few more out into the economy, is making dungeon rooms things that show up in the loot bundles, the higher tier loot bundles, so they'll just kind of randomly be seeded into the economy in different ways. They'll still drop the room. That'll be the best way. If you know you want to go get the Hilt Rotunda or whatever, your best option is still going to be to go to Hilt and do the Rotunda room. But what was another thought on that? Yeah, it's probably good. Moving on, try and keep them short. Forms of movement. Hello, Chris. I am Nemesis Darkwood. I played Ultima 3, 4, 5, not 1 and 2. And Ultima Online when they first came out. Wow, 32 years ago. They were ahead of their time in content and originality. I still have a few of the props that came with the games. I was wondering, when will mounts be addressed? The coconuts are getting old for me. What? You don't like our April Fool's joke? How about horses, other creatures, balloons, airships, moon gates? So the moon gates is one that we probably will be doing soon. We will be doing all of those things within the next probably 18 months. Let me finish reading. Moon gates operate during the different phases of the moon. Sea ships with cannons, as with the sea ships and airships. How about combat with them? Sea serpents, flying dragons, some of these options. So those are all things that are on the agenda. The moon gates are one that I think the floodgates are going to open on those. That's one that I've been pushing on Richard, because right now they're all the Moongate stuff. It's all tied to story stuff, and so it's a major game thing that players would use, and it's a major convenience thing that we're not having in the game because of some story stuff. So there's going to be some alternative ways to get around that'll show up, if not more gates between different places. The goal is never to try to make traveling super punishing. So yeah, that's one of the things that's definitely going to happen. As for mounts, I've talked a bit about these. We do plan on having mounts. They're a pretty expensive thing to add in terms of time spent on them, just due to the various animations and work that has to be done on the creatures, and then also changes to levels and data to make them all work well. So mounts are planned. The airships, I already talked a bit about that, about the water ships. Airships are another one that we've talked about, but if we had them, it would probably have to be in some pretty specific places. Another one that I would like to see, that may be something that comes on before any ship stuff comes online, is actually imagine encounter zones, but it's an encounter spot on the water. So you take a boat and you actually get like a pirate encounter where you stop in the actual fighting space. Everything is on a ship, and the ship can be moving, but it's not a ship that you can drive. It's actually just like when you use the little ships on Novia or whatever. Use one of those and it may give you an encounter. That'll probably come with episode 2, that there'll be some of those water encounter type things. And mounts is, again, it's on the list. but it is not low-hanging fruit, so it's not something that's going to happen anytime real soon. It could happen before the end of the year. It depends on, again, the most important thing for us, as always, is new user acquisition, getting new players into the game and making sure they stick. You guys can help with that by helping getting new players in there. It's up to us to make sure they stick. And so that type of stuff is the most important to us, because then that also expands our budget so that we can afford to hire more people so that we can more quickly get all these things done. And that's also a snowballing thing, is the more people we can get, the more money we can get, which means more advertising, which is more people we can get. So again, you guys promoting the game, you guys streaming the game, you guys helping us out wherever you can, is absolutely fabulous. And for those who are watching this, I have not pre-read any of these, so I'm waiting for the crazy answers to come in, or questions to come in. None yet.
I know, no peanut butter and jelly this time.
As we all know, we have a few harvesting skills not very useful at this moment, like survey skills. Can you please take another look on those and give them another use, or make them more interesting? Yeah, and that's, I passed the buck on that question a little bit, in terms of that is not something that I really work on. That's more of a Beezus and Star thing. But they're well aware of harvesting not being spectacular. So we'll see. Thank you, middle with 2 L's, for the follow. And again, follows are what I want. Follow, follow, follow. All right, next question. Let's see. For Murphy, just wondering why Portalarium stopped posting 3D images to Sketchfab. I assume the dev that was doing it is not at Ported anymore, but I really liked being able to look at those images. Yeah, that was one of those things. It was, that was a Fletcher thing that he started doing that, and it was a huge time sink. He would spend hours setting up each one of those things, and it just, they were changing up some of the rules for how Sketchfab worked as well, like their licensing and stuff like that, as they moved to try to figure out what their money model was going to be. Yeah, I mean, the main thing was just, it was a big time sink. That's one of the big deciding factors in getting rid of our store as well. The web store was the amount of time we spent on it, and it just was not useful. Mandalar, thank you very much for a follow. Oh, and Tacos and Beer, thank you very much for a follow. And Extra Lean, thank you very much for the follow. Oh, Tacos and Beer, I think you just did a 24-hour stream. I caught a little bit of that. But again, as I sit here and thank streamers, definitely thank you. That type of stuff is great.
Add to that, Chris, because of his stream, multiple people ended up coming to the game.
Awesome. And that's what I love, and that's one of those things. I wish I had more time to stream. As I sit here and say, I wish I had more time. Oh, and just all sub. Thank you very much for the sub. Love those too. Even more. Yeah, you'll hear me say that a lot. I wish I had more time for X, Y, or Z. But yeah, I wish I had more time for streaming as I continue to look into it and see the metrics. Obviously, I get to start with a huge advantage because I've got a streaming channel that thousands of people follow and want to come in and see what's going on. But yeah, just the streaming, every person we talk to in terms of people who know what they're talking about in marketing, streaming is pretty much the biggest. I think there's kind of some semi-scandal stuff going on right now. Thank you very much. Iron Fist Warhammer, thank you very much. Soda Rat, man, we're cleaning up here, for the follow. But yeah, with the paid streamers and all that type of stuff, I think I saw Apex Legend was like the guy was getting paid $1 million a day or whatever to stream. But yeah, we can't pay you $1 million a day. But if you are a streamer and you want to do some streaming and you're getting some people in there and helping bring people to the game, like Tacos and Beer on his awesome stream, let me know and I will hook you up with some crowns or prizes to give away, or even like your own custom item, as somebody has requested their own custom cloak. for their stream. So yeah, just let me know and I'll hook you up. Next question. Oh, what's your favorite snack while gaming? Thank you in advance. My favorite snack is not pork rinds, because now I'm on a health kick because I'm home all the time. And of course, there'll be a lot of those keto people out there who say this is not a healthy snack. But let's see. Organic, seedless mandarin oranges, cuties. That is my current snack of choice. I've got it up here. That's my lunch pretty much every day. Is I get a bowl and I put about 8 prunes and a couple handfuls of nuts, and I eat those for my lunch. And then I have a few cuties afterwards. Pretty good, except you may notice actually I've had people comment on it before. They look at my nails and they're like, "Do you have fungus on your nails?" And it's like, no, it's not fungus. It's just oranges, because because I use my fingernails to dig into the oranges and open them up, it turns my nails orange. I will not show you guys. Looks kind of weird.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
From Rada Torment, again, speaking of streamers who've done a lot to help the game, of all the new features and stuff you guys are working on for episode 2, what's your favorite one and why? Well, the player dungeons are honestly, they're an episode 2 feature. And they're obviously my favorite since I pushed those way ahead in the schedule from where they started off. So again, giving the players some way to build with those things, I think is incredible. And players, it's kind of, it takes you back to your kid days of playing with the Legos or whatever. But it also opens up a lot of different doorways. That's some of the things we've talked about. A few things. But there's a lot of things planned that can build off the player dungeons. Some of it is, like people were talking about, building outside stuff too. So now we've got basically a socket and connection rule set for how things can connect together. So it's totally possible. We can let you build your own castle. You can build your floors. You can build your walls. Put those things up. Thank you, Scan for the follow. The other thing that can come out, just the dungeon set, that's actually one that will probably happen in Q2, even though it's probably not on any schedule, just because it's not low-hanging fruit, but it's low-ish hanging fruit, is the ability to have random algorithmically generated dungeons. So you can have a dungeon, if you think about it, because what we have right now is we have a set of rooms with clearly defined connection. And then we have other pieces that can connect to those. They all know how they can connect together. Guess what? That's all you need is that, a tool set so you can say, can this fit here? We already got that. And you're pretty much to the point where you can, here's a randomly created dungeon. And it can even go back to, we've talked about doing even some of the Ultima stuff, like Ultima 1, 2, 3 type stuff. Less so in the later ones, I think. I'm trying to remember when they phased that out. But Richard's Dungeons, where it's, here's a level, and it's a big level, and then there's a way down, and then, there's a big level there, and it gets harder each time you go down. And we can have that same type thing, where we just have, we use the flat pieces, and then there's always, in the dungeon, there's always one room to go down. So it's that type of stuff where we can create those type of things, where it can be like a dungeon that every day shows up as an achievement for whoever can get to the bottom of the dungeon, where we make these 10-level dungeons that's just every day a new random dungeon gets created, and you guys have a random dungeon you can go through every day and know that at the bottom of the dungeon there's something cool down there waiting for you. And maybe it'll even have the list of here's the guys that have completed the dungeon today, and that can be something that shows up as an achievement. But it's that type of stuff with the dungeons, and I'm saying dungeons, the player-made dungeons, but it's really, that's yet another building block that lets us build bigger and cooler things going forward. So that's the type of stuff that I'm really excited about. And again, it's not just dungeons, but that is kind of the thing right now that I'm super excited about, just because it again gives you guys so much playtime. All right, this one says from Troll. That's a little suspicious. We'll see how it is. When will
He's
there?
actually a guild member.
When will there be more love for bludgeon items? The way they look, we should get some different looks, don't you think? Well, Trolls would use a bludgeon item, so that does make a little bit of sense there. So I had planned, again, I've got a change list still sitting on my computer for the stun changes. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to those this release, again, because it's another release where things just kept cropping up and cropping up. And a lot of stuff has fallen on me, as now we are officeless. For those who haven't heard, we don't have an office, pretty much by choice, and we'll probably get an office again at some point. But for at least the time being, and probably the next couple months, we do not have an office, and are shopping for possible, options for a few people, just because they have bad internet connections at home, or really want, need to get out of their house because they have kids or whatever. I forget why I was talking about that. Man, it's tough getting old. Oh, bludgeon, and why I haven't got that change list. But anyways, a bunch of stuff came up that I had to deal with, data center wise, managing people who now don't have real offices, setting up some new computers. Had to fight with a laptop. I've got to do some more build machine stuff still going on, so we can do builds in less than 7 hours. So bludgeon is getting some love, but I'm trying to give it the right kind of love rather than just going and turning up the numbers, which is what I do far too often, which would make some people happy, but I don't think it's the right fix for bludgeon. Right fix for bludgeon is improving it and making it more defining in terms of its stunning ability. So I say. Gold sinks. What was the design rationale behind only crafting having gold sinks? Adventuring, since repair kits started dropping as loot, has no gold sink. Would not do it retrospectively, but I'm surprised devotionals don't cost like 100 gold donation. That's kind of a neat idea. So again, we watched the economy. I think there's some belief that there's a lot of inflation. There's a little bit of inflation, and it's I'm the economy guy, and I watch it closer than anybody else, and there's some inflation. But the reality is you kind of want a little bit of inflation over time. That's honestly the same way as the real economy works as well. You want to have some inflation over time. If not, you get into these, you've probably heard the terms like stagflation, which is when there is no inflation going on. Thank you, Chosen Dragon 70, for the follow. So you kind of do want some inflation over time. And we're a little bit ahead of the metric that I would want for things, but we're not that far ahead. So pushing gold sinks has not been a super high priority. But for episode 2, some of the things will be coming online with the crafting system in particular. Again, yes, crafting is that the higher tier crafting stuff is going to be much more of a gold sink. So there will be some more powerful crafting stuff coming online, but it will also be much more of a gold sink. And that is one of the things, but again, we aren't rushing things out just because it hasn't been that big of a problem with inflation. I think there's some. The bigger problem is, sadly, just like the real economy again. Thank you, Majoria70. Oh my goodness, Majoria, you haven't been following us? Just like with the real economy, the bigger problem is there's the haves and the have-nots. There's a lot of people who have a lot of gold and know how to make a lot of gold. And then there's the other people who just play for fun, and those guys are pretty poor. So again, it's the problem of the 1%ers, which it also skews perception. The recent changes to the crowns to make them 100 times more and have the in-game crown shop, so crowns become more desirable, is also another thing. If you look at the actual bread and butter for things used in the economy, though the inflation is not that bad, and the total gold in the economy on active players is, again, that's one of the big keys I look at, is also modest. And it's going to pop up in a second. I'm going to get to it soon. Oh, yeah, there it is. Rambo only one. Thank you very much for the follow. So yes, so, and again, the real game loop is supposed to be the crafters feed the adventurers gear, and the adventurers feed the crafters items, and they can figure out the gold exchange however they want to in that situation. Yeah, I would like to have a few more gold sinks for adventurers, but as soon as you start adding gold sinks, that's something that we're in some way taking away from the crafter market. And the more reliance upon the crafters that we can have, the better it is for everybody. I mean, keeping the economy turning on things. Let's see. When are you going to get your heraldry in game? And when are you going to get a new look? That is Atos. Minerva. I have not figured out what I want to do for my heraldry. As the guy who approves the heraldry, I could do whatever I wanted to. I may be using some of these. I may be using my Mojito. Thank you, Old Sup, for the follow. But I may be using some of the stuff that we're adding here as we're trying to figure out the Twitch world. Again, we're a bunch of old guys. We don't get the whole Twitch thing. We're still working on figuring it out.
Liz can help you with the look.
Yeah, well, he can help me with the look in game, but my heraldry, we're adding icons so you guys can have icons. I guess that's a big deal. That's one of those Twitch affiliate things that you get, but we get a bunch of them as Twitch, whatever we are, Twitch partners. But anyway, so we've got some icons. I think I might have shown some of these the other day, but I'll show them again because I know not everybody saw them. Let's see. Nope, those are Easter eggs. Hold on. Here is possible heraldry option. Right there. Mojito, obviously. So that may be on my shield. The other option is I may just to troll him. We have a... where is it? There it is. We have a dark star. Whoops. Oh my goodness. What did I just do? Can I undo? I think I got it all back. What is going on? Again, pretend your grandpa's streaming here. There we go. Now I got it. Yeah, so that may be something more like that I have as my heraldry, just to troll DJ Darkstar, or as I lovingly call him, DJ Dorkstar. All right, and I probably didn't have my key down for a lot of that stuff, but I know some of you are probably watching on the stream as well. Let's see, Maxine. What is the best thing you have done with Maxine during the past week? Minerva. Well, in the past week, probably the thing she had the most fun is we have a outdoor barbecue place that is walking distance from our house, and we will hike there as a family. And they have like 3 different playground areas and barbecue and live music and beers, important. But going to what used to be called Stubbs Barbecue, which is now Do Right Barbecue, because they had to change the name, with Maxine, and then having her ride on my shoulders the whole way back, rapping, doing a freestyle to me. Oh, it looks like I did, when I did the thing earlier, it screwed up my... Man. Oh, okay, I think that's what I did.
Grandpa, you're not zoomed out enough.
Give me a minute here. Oh, I didn't know you could do perspective scaling on that. What?
It's not that just your forward is your forehead is showing, it's that you shrunk. Old people shrink.
Yeah, but you don't notice because all your friends shrink at the same rate, so.
And and I don't notice all the wrinkles because my eyes are going.
But yeah, and for those who don't know, that's I love Shroud. It is one of the favorite things in my life. My daughter is number one by a mile for me, and spending time with her and anything I can do with her. That's actually for. Man, I gotta remember to hold down my key. I love Shroud, but my daughter is number one priority for me, and that's I plan everything I do around my daughter and spending time with her, whatever I'm doing. Actually, my schedule now, for those who've kept up with me, I think most people know that I'm a morning guy. I can't wait to get up in the morning and start working on Shroud, which is actually pretty true. So I actually schedule my mornings. I now work, now that we're from home, and I can kind of work any schedule I want to. I mean, not that I couldn't before, but I get up at 4 a.m. and work from 4 a.m. until noon, and then take a break and go eat lunch and shower sometimes, work out, and then do some streaming until Maxine comes home, and then I usually call it a day when Maxine gets home around 3:30 or 4, whatever time my wife gets home with her. So Maxine is my number one priority, and I'll bring her on stream occasionally too. One of them Chris questions, what does fishing crit chance do on some of the fishing poles? Wow, I have no idea. I think I've gone over these before, but B is pretty much the majority of crafting recipes, like artifact crafting and some high-end crafting stuff is just stuff I jammed in. And B does initially set up all the pets and taming stuff, and then he's also the fishing guy. And then if it's not all that stuff, it's probably falls on me. But that's a huge chunk of stuff that B does in terms of number and stuff. So I don't know off the top of my head what the fishing crit chance does. Normally, if I were doing a normal stream and not didn't have 100 questions in front of me, I'd stop and go look and dig up what they did. But I'm not going to do that right now. But I'll save that for another time. You can catch me on a stream when I'm not when I don't have 100 questions lined up, and I'll answer them. Quality of life improvements. How many Portalarium developers are there? Are there developers dedicated mainly to the quality of life improvements? Can we expect ongoing improvements to the smaller things even as the next chapter of Soda is rolled out? For example, 1. Being able to drag sort our combat decks in the list. 2. Bags that can be set to automatically collect different types of items when you pick up reagents, food, keys, tools, papers, etc. Oh, that second one's a neat one I hadn't thought of. Trying to think. A lot of these times it's like there's ideas like that, and on the surface they seem really simple, and then the challenge comes when you try to make an interface that doesn't confuse everybody. The combat bar is one that's on the short list. It might have made this release, except that guy, Wizard Smoke, the guy that it's assigned to, this is the release where he had scheduled months ago that he was taking a birthday vacation for 2 weeks. So he missed a little over 2 weeks of this release, and he's actually not back yet. So he had a short list of things, but that did not make the short enough list. That'll be on next ones. Oh, and also I forgot to say thank you, Tacos and Beer, not just for the 600 bits, not just for the sub, but for the great job of streaming you're doing. Heard lots of good feedback and saw people buzzing about it. So thank you. And Extra Lean is now hosting my stream. Thank you very much for that as well. As for how many Portalarium developers there are, we've talked about it quite a bit in terms of the core team. It's pretty much the same core people that have been around forever. We added some people and let some people go, but most of the people who are on the team now have been with the team for 4 years, 5 years. A couple of the guys are actually people that I've pretty much dragged from company to company to company because they're absolutely amazing. You guys may know Lord Subtleton is the guy that does a lot of the server stuff. He does not get nearly enough credit. He deserves a lot of credit for how smoothly the game goes and how smoothly the publishing goes and a lot of the stuff that happens. Like the server moves that happen. Like I did a lot of the physical stuff and server setup, but he did so much more stuff to make that all go smoothly. But he's somebody that I worked with 20-something years ago, and got him hired on Tabula Rasa after I'd been on Tabula Rasa for a while, and then got him hired. Once that was over, I got him hired at the next company I went to, which is called Redfly. And then after Redfly, I just basically walked him across the street with me. And it's not, no one has to get him hired. He can work wherever he wants to. But we work pretty well together, and have had a great relationship. And also, One and Only is another one of those guys that he worked with me at Redfly. So a lot of these guys I've worked with continuously for 10 years or more. Star took a little break because he went to Disney for a while, but same thing. And again, Beezus was also at NCSoft with us, and Ken was also Burning Toad was also there. So I mean, a lot of these guys, we've got a small team, but it's a small team of just absolutely super top-notch guys that we know what we're doing. So if you look at the size of our game, we've got some rough edges and some things that need to be fixed, but for a team our size, it is a massive, massive, massive game. So our team size has been for a while about 11 to 13 people, depending. There's a couple of people who help us out part-time. Scotty is one of those people. He has, for those who know anything about Scotty, Scotty Cake, Scott Jones, whatever you want to call him, he does pen and paper role-playing games as well. So he's got a pen and paper role-playing game company. So he does that part-time, and then he helps us part-time with just whatever art we can do. And we all love Scotty, but he's only really part-time with us because he's got his own thing that he does and is just kind enough to help us on the side.
He actually came and was our guest a few weeks ago, and he told scary stories. And then he also talked about crafting and talked about things like cupcakes.
Yeah. And also there's, I think I may have just called them Scotty Cakes. Did he talk about his life before art?
Yeah, he kind of went through a lot of his history, but he mostly focused on the ghost stories.
But yes, so quality of life stuff coming, and yes, we are a pretty small team, but we are a small, very dedicated team of very skilled people, and lots of experience. Personally, let's see, 30 years ago, from right now, I was teaching C, C++, and assembly in college to graduate students is when I got started in the games industry. And shortly after that, my brother actually contacted me and said, "Hey, you want to come program computer games?" And I said, "Sure." And that's about when I got started. Was looking at the calendar here. It was about I think it was 1990 was when I actually got started. It may have been 91. But anyways, and then several other people have similar level of 20 to 25 years experience. And for those who don't know, you don't survive in the games industry unless you are pretty good at what you're doing. You don't survive for 20 plus years because word gets out on don't hire so and so. So anyways, lots of really good people is how we do what we do. Hi Chris, would you consider Chain Lightning to Ring of Lightning? Lock on target, fighting one mob half dead, another one comes close, full health, the archer switches to the full health mob. Oh wait, that's two different questions. Would you consider changing Chain Lightning to Ring of Lightning? And do what Ring of Fire does, where it just sits in one place? I wouldn't. I could see doing a lightning does a lightning burst, but that's pretty close to what Discharge does already. So I think it's neat to have some of those different abilities. That's one of those things I talk about all the time. That's very much a Richard edict. That Richard doesn't get his fingers too deep into like combat stuff or any of that stuff, but he does have some high level concepts, and that's one of the things he always tries to push is make sure, minimize apples to apples type stuff. So having the same skill in two different trees, it just has a different visual effect, but otherwise, and maybe it hits a different type of resistance, but otherwise it's the same is not something that really anybody wants. Well, Richard wants. But I do plan on adding some more epic spells to every tree, that there's going to be at least one more tier of spells coming up during episode 2. I'm not going to say when yet because I've got my plate full of a ton of other things, but I've talked about a few of those things, and that'll be like for Chaos, that's where the Greater Demon and Demon Control spell will come in, and everything else will be getting a tier 6 set of spells as well. Lock on target. Fighting one mob half dead, another comes closer, full health. The archer switches to the full health mob. Thank you. So there's actually some targeting stuff that is being looked at right now that I was on the Wake Up New Britannia. Or Good Morning New... Wait, no, it's Wake Up New Britannia. With Justin Wolfton. And that's Justin brought up a bug that I had seen myself, but I hadn't been able to come up with a good repro case. And we actually looked at this week, that it has to do with the targeting. For hers, it was the pet bears keep stealing the heal spell she's trying to cast on people. Even though she has them hard locked, pet bear comes between it and it steals it. And that sounds like that may be the same thing. If you have them hard locked, it should always hit the hard locked target, but it seems like there's something going on where it's not always hitting the hard locked target. But yeah, there's actually a bug on that, and I actually spent a little time this week trying to come up with a solid repro case because one and only looked at it, he couldn't find anything. And let's see. Oh, and Tacos and Beer sent me a nice message over on Twitch. Thank you so much for the mention. Just wanted to let you know that this game is the first since EverQuest 1 to make me feel that way. Thanks so much for the super kind words, and also on Tacos and Beer, that was, EverQuest 1, I think everybody knows I played Ultima Online quite a bit. I played EverQuest 1, Little EverQuest 2, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, whole smattering of everything, but EverQuest 1 is probably the game that I spent the most time in. And honestly, a lot of those things are like, Ultima was an awesome game, EverQuest is awesome. Probably in EverQuest, the reason I stuck is the same reason I'm here talking to you guys today. I enjoyed EverQuest 1 more, probably not because the game was better or different, but because when I got in the game early on, I was adopted by a great guild. And guess what? The most important aspect of whether or not a player will stay with a game, with an MMO, is the quality of the guild he gets in. So that's, again, like I said, that's why I'm here talking to you guys right now. Those on the Twitch channel, and then also at this guild meeting here. It's the most important thing for retention, for sticking, for enjoyment, for everything. And it's the type of thing, like in that one, like we even did guild get-togethers. We had a Disney guild trip. We all went to Disney World together. It's that type of bonds that you build that you just can't see in other games, where it's almost like, it's laughable to say it, but it's a little bit true, and it's almost like a military type thing of your brothers in arms, and you put your lives in a much lesser situation in their hands and stuff. But anyways, let's see. Let me get on to the next question here. And also, you guys will find that I suck at answering questions because I always end up going off on random tangents. But hopefully that's what you guys like. I'm giving you guys lots of time, so hopefully I can still get through most of the questions anyways. Rumors on the forum suggest resources nerf incoming shortly. True, or actually it says tur, or false. That would be false as far as I know. There haven't been that many resource nerfs of any size. There's in 5 or 6 releases, there have been a few that people thought were nerfs, but they were not intended to be nerfs. They were like fixes that that also just happened to appear to players as nerfs, but there are fixes to the way things were spawning, and some things like, hey, there's the system where you set up 20 spawn points. You set up 20 spawn points, and it's supposed to spawn to 5 of them. Well, it was always spawning to the same 5 over and over again. Well, when we fixed that, now it actually spreads things out, and to you guys it appears like, oh, you guys just nerfed spawning, and it's actually bug fixes that appear spawning to you guys. So, did somebody say something about sieges? If anything's going to get a nerf, it probably would be sieges, but really we're changing the rules back and forth. I think there was some bad decision making on that that was kind of knee-jerk changes that were made. But again, you guys do a good job of telling us when we're stupid. We try to be pretty good on listening, and hopefully it's not going to be anything too painful for you. But I don't think anything's coming in this release or next release or anytime in the very near future. SCP-4120 Object Class Safe Containment. SCP-4120 is contained within a 5 by 5 by 2 meter white room. Description: SCP-4120 is the question chest. The SCP is usually inactive. I have no idea what the hell this is talking about.
It's okay, just move on. We know who it is. Tika.
And that's Ark is another one that has been in the game for years and absolutely love him. But yes, I have no idea what he's talking about there. Sieges. Sieges are a hot button topic right now. Based on dev comments, it is believed that they're supposed to be playable in either open or party mode. What's the official mode design? Are they supposed to be like encounters, party only? So this was a change. There was, and again, this is Lord Subtleton. Again, absolutely amazing guy, but he does make some changes that are sometimes a little too knee-jerk and responsive to things that trying to fix things that shouldn't be happening. But really, it just ends up making for a worse player experience in ways that aren't necessary. And this is one of those where he had made some changes to something, the way the scenes work that he was trying to fix. There was some confusion as to why players, they couldn't get into the same scene with their friend and those. And he made some change to how that all works. And I honestly don't remember the exact details, but it was too big of a change to roll back last release. I think he's going to be putting it back to how sieges were like 3 or 4 releases ago, though. Soon. What is the official mode design? That is, again, it's up in the air and changing, but it hopefully will be going back to where it was 3 or 4 releases ago. Supply bundles. What are the plans for supply bundles, or are they working as intended? Why have a low chance to get a low chance? Why have a low chance to get a low chance to get anything decent from them? Well, they vary by different types. A lot of the stuff you guys don't see how we measure some of these things. Hey, maybe I can pull up and show on the stream here. Let me see if I can pull up a window. Hold on, I'm going to let off my talk key here, so I'm not going to be talking to the TeamSpeak guys. If you're on the stream, you can hear me, but give me 1 minute while I find some data. But I'll show you some of the stuff we look at and why supply bundles are how they are. Looking for it. Alright, I got it. Let me see if I can figure out how to get this into a window. I can show you guys. Hold on one second. Let me, I've got to make a change to my sources over here. Tacos and Beer hosting my stream with 1 viewers. Thank you again, Tacos and Beer. That's like 10 times I've thanked you now. Let's see, that's not what I want. Alright, well the only way it might let me do it here is if I pull that in there and then maybe I can maximize that. Oh, that's ugly. Hold on, now I'm going to shrink it down. And I'm going to stretch it out. Alright, so that's, this is you can see at the top there, here's the dev showing behind the curtains here. For all the role players out there, cover your eyes. Oh, and I'm showing, for those guys who are on the chat but not actually watching the stream, if you get on the stream, I'm showing off a rare loot bundle so I can explain why they are like they are and some of the things we look at. So this is not a great excuse for why they sometimes feel like they suck, but this is some of the data we have to look at and we try to design within. And so this is kind of what it looks like. This is the stuff that gets added to it, but how we actually put it together, hold on 1 second, there we go, is we have like all these loot things and we have all these weighted chances and then we have all these sub bundles that get thrown in. So you can see this is a rare loot supply bundle, but it's actually broken down into a bunch of other smaller supply bundles. That's how we put it together so we can build out these categories of rare artifacts and rare consumables and whatever. And so it makes it a lot easier for building this stuff up. Thank you for Extra Lean. Oh, Tacos and Beer sub and Extra Lean sub. Man, guys are helping me out tons. But anyway, so some of the stuff we look at, let's see if I can find the cooler pages. Okay, so here's some of the cooler stuff in there. So this is a breakdown of what goes into it. I'm sure 99.99% sure this has never been shown on any stream or anything before or exposed to you guys. So this is kind of the breakdown. So what this is showing is how much average gold and chances for different things. There's like you can see, you can actually get a city lot deed, not a pot city lot deed, but there's a small chance you'll get an actual city lot deed that you would actually be able to sell for 800,000 gold if you got it. All the different chances, the different recipes. You can see there's a lot of stuff that can come out of them. But the thing we have to look at is when we get down here to the bottom and we try to tune around that is the mean value. So again, that's one of those things we try to look at these numbers and we try to make all these things work out, and we have some targets for things. We know what the drop rate on these are, so we try to build around some of that, some of these numbers. So sometimes things get tweaked and it's not entirely obvious why. Viper Mortality, thank you again. I know you were a multi-time contributor. So sometimes it is because we are looking to get this value to be what we want it to be. And you can see the total value of this thing, what is that, like 2 million. So theoretically, basically what that means is theoretically you could get a 2 million gold worth of stuff out of a supply bundle. I think it's a very small chance. Thank you, Fair Game, for the follow. Fair, you hadn't followed me until now. Griffler, thank you for the sub. Thank you. Another longtime player. But again, this is, you can see that we shoot for target numbers on things. I think this one was supposed to be around 1250 gold value, so it's actually like a little bit over, but we'll let that slide. But sometimes we end up tweaking and moving things around, and it's a small chance. It seems like a small chance, but the average you guys get out of the bundle is, again, 1292 gold is any supply bundle. Now the challenge with that, though, is that sometimes you may get one that has, again, you could get like lucky and get an 800,000 gold drop. Well, that's great when you get them, but that means the realistic mean value, that's the average value, but the median value is way, way, way below what 1292 gold probably is. So We have to look at the mean gold because we have to look at kind of the macro economy of like, we know how many of these pour into the economy. Thank you, Fatal Amnesia. We know how many of these pour into the economy and what the drop rate is and all those type of things. We can see that number. So we have to tune towards the mean rather than median. So yes, 99 times you'll think to yourself, what a ripoff. I didn't get anything good out of a big rare supply bundle or whatever. But it's because that 1 in 100 times you get something crazy good out of it, or a couple of crazy good things out of it. So, anyways, let me hide that window now. Bam, back to questions. So in one way they are working as intended, but yes, there's a lot of stuff we can do to improve them still. And that's one of the things I think I've talked about in some past streams. There's some people who give us some really good feedback. Among the best guys who give us feedback, our BMC gives us great feedback, but in terms of like loot and what they're looking for in the game and putting it in writing, it's like a formal written thing. The Syndicate does an amazing job. It shouldn't be a shock since they've been around for longer than any other guild. Probably one of the most organized guilds in the world. But that's been consistently one of their big concerns is loot sucks. You really got to fix the loot. So anyways, that is one of our top things we're working on. Alpha Fish Stick says 0.005% for a wicked shield. I bet that shield is awesome. The shield is it's a shield of the Wicked King. If you see it, I think it just is a rare drop. I'm not sure why people don't use it. For a while, it was a pretty popular shield, but I haven't seen it used as much anymore. I still like it.
User joined your channel.
And I think I missed RoUOOC follow. Thank you. Fatal Amnesia, thank you very much for the follow. And again, that's the number one thing I would love to get is more follows from you guys. I'm not going to tell you don't give me bits because I love the bits too, and I love cheering you guys when you throw some bits up there or give me a sub, even better. But the number one thing I hope to get out of the streaming stuff that I'm doing here, besides answering you guys' questions, is like getting more new players involved. They can actually see what's going on, have direct exposure to a dev on a frequently. And again, with my new schedule of working from 4 a.m. to noon and then taking a break and then coming back later and streaming for a couple hours, hopefully I'm getting you guys lots of exposure and attracting some new people. Last time I looked, in case you didn't hear me at the start of the stream, in the last week there had been 500 people who had come to the stream through browse they didn't come here straight through a link. They weren't subscribers. They weren't anything. They actually just found us on the browse on the Twitch channel. And that is the type of stuff that starts happening when you have more and more viewers. So the more viewers, snowball. And hopefully we can get some of those guys in game as they see the type of stuff that happens in the game. That's one of those things also as I continue even more down a tangent. What was I going to say? Man, I had such a great idea. It was a great idea. If I had told you about it, you would have really loved it. Old man. It'll come back to me.
You have another question.
Yeah, I'll do another question. I'm sure my great thought that I was going to dump on you guys will come back to me.
Just so you're aware, we are over a little bit. It's fine with us if you go over. I just wanted you to be aware.
Okay, well, I'm getting towards the end of these questions. I'll answer this set of questions.
There's a few more in the box. Not very many, but a few more that got added.
All right, well, I will come back another time since I'm already over and I'm probably going to spend another 20 minutes or so here. Alpha Fish Stick, thank you for the sub. I'll go over the ones that are here and then we can save the other ones for next time. I just want to get through all these guys because if not, I am doing the thing where like, hey, make sure your question starts with Atos. Because if you do that, you'll be in the A's and you'll get answered first. So to heaven, if dev resources were infinite and you dream big, how would Shroud look? Well, let's see. So if dev resources were infinite, the first thing I would do is probably start paying the exorbitant fee to have a source code license to Unity. It would be one option. So we can start actually fixing some of the issues we have with the engine and get stability up and get like the memory growth down and some of those other things that we are just outside of our control. The other option is if it's truly infinite, then I would be probably consider moving the project to Unreal for episode 2, which is actually one of those things we've actually talked about, and I've actually talked to Unreal about it, and was fortunate enough to be friends with one of the guys over there who's their one of their head guys, so I talked to him, but it would be just too much of an effort. We will continue to consider it for episode 3, though really what we hope is that Unity gets their stuff together for in the next year or so, and improves their engine and acts like they care about big PC projects. As people probably realize, we're one of the largest PC projects. In fact, we know for a while we were the largest PC project because we'd hit internal limits in the engine in terms of what it could handle in code. As I've told this story, I think I told this when I was talking to Marquis Dragon. We got to a point where anytime we were going to add a line of code, we had to find a line of code to delete. So when I say I know we were the largest project on Unity for a while, that's how I know we were the largest project. Someone else may have tied us for being the largest project, but we'd exhausted the code space that they'd had some hard-coded numbers in there. So as to how Shroud would look, it would probably look like it does now. Probably some improved visual, some improved graphics. Obviously, we have a lot of art that is, some of it is amazing, some of it is fairly dated. We'd get things more consistent in style. That's one of those things because we did have lots of different people working on it, and then some art stuff was purchased, some was more modern, and varies quite a bit. But in general, though, a lot of the stuff I do like the look of it. I would improve the lighting stuff quite a bit, probably. That's one of those things that's tough, though, to get lighting better in a game where everything's dynamic and every light is dynamic and can be turned on and off. Yeah, I mean, to me, the top priorities would probably be, number one, get the game more stable, get the game faster and more consistent, and just start fixing bugs. But anyways, yeah, if it were infinite, man, there's so many other things I'd do. I talk about them all the time, like ship sailing and all the other, random dungeon building and all the other different stuff. Let's see, specialization question. What is the least popular skill to specialize in? Do you use that sort of information to target skill trees that need some love? I have not looked recently. For a while, bludgeon was pretty low on there. Shields have always been pretty low. But I have not gone and pulled that data recently. I did pull it for about 3 to 4 months after specialization stuff came out. Just keep an eye on things, and as you would expect, things were very skewed. But it also, one of the things that surprised me a lot with specializations is how many people would switch specializations around. Some of you hardcore guys, I guess, using Books of Unlearning or something. Oh, look at cute little Mojito. Look at him. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a sweet little puppy dog. Oh, buddy, I got to rub your belly. I got to rub your belly. But anyways, yeah, so I do watch those, and as you would expect, there's a few schools that get most of the love. But you guys do change around a lot, which means that there's got to be some, it's still balanced enough that it's not always just always do this school or always do that school. But yeah, it's one of those things I need to go look at again. I watched it very carefully for a while, built some charts on it, but I think my chart might have been destroyed when we redid our data server. All right, I will get through these. When are Sun and Moon get an additional damage glyph? Currently, gearing for Sun or Moon attunement means you have to use out of tree damage glyphs. Yeah. So this is just and this is something I've talked about, and I keep saying I'm gonna get it. I want to get it, but it's another one where I can create it myself pretty quick. But what did we hit? Hold on here. We're at exactly 60,000 of 75,000. That seems a little suspicious. Someone just said that we hit the clock tower or whatever, and I was checking to see what it was. But yeah, I will be getting the additional sun and moon glyph, and that is those are the two schools that have, like, there's not enough compelling reasons. You can't really just be a sun mage or just be a moon mage just because there's not enough damage options for it. They need to have more options for it that are compelling. I'd been saying for a while that I would make a shooting star spell for moon, just because it is a school that a lot of people like. There's a lot of good things going on with it, but it tends to be more one that like melee guys use it to bolster their melee stuff, and fireflies and some other things are super useful in there, especially for PvP guys who want to max out crit effects. Let's see. Let me get through last couple questions. In a numbers term, how strong will summons like Daemon be for R62? Will the Daemon be uncontrolled in the future? And if so, thank you. Oh, fair game for a sub. Man, moving up. Just joined us for a follow and already got a sub. Will the Daemon be uncontrolled in the future? And if so, how will we command it? How far down the year is the Chaos rebalance? So the Demon's getting a little more love this release. The bigger change that's going to be coming with it, though, is that it will... There's going to be the Greater Demon on it. That'll be the more powerful... That'll probably be... the summoned Greater Demon will probably be closer to on par with like a high tamed... a taming specialized person. But also be extremely costly and have lots of other things going with it. Thank you, Unbeliever Dragon, for the follow. For R62, again, I've got it on my list, my very short list, but I'm like working crazy trying to get some dungeon stuff done. I had to build and balance, I think, 40 different creatures for this release, for the version of the dungeon versions of all the kobolds is the one that really sucked, but also trolls, and that ate up a lot more time than I expected. But that was building out like the trolls. There's actually 6 different tiers, just to give you an idea on the troll spawn difficulty. The tier 1 will have basically what you see as the normal trolls, which are not trivial. So you're talking starting off, tier 1 is probably going to be in the tier 8 range. As you get up, and those guys, like a tier 2 troll, there'll be some tougher trolls. Once you get to tier 3, I think is about where I have it, so a boss type guy. So it'll be a couple other trolls and also like a Torque Doll level troll. So Torque Doll then defines the lowest of the boss level trolls for the dungeon encounter with trolls. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I missed a sub there. Pawn or a Pawn for the sub, and Lilybird for the follow. Thank you guys so much. And helping expand the stream and getting more people on the stream is how we get more people in the game. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Helping us in multiple different ways. But again, the troll encounter for the dungeon that will be going live this release, we'll see if I can get it live for the initial release. But the trolls in that, the tier 3 will be multiple trolls with one boss troll that will be about as tough as Torque Doll. So that's one of the things to keep in mind with the dungeon rooms is, tier 5 Lich room is not as the same difficulty as tier 5 Kobold room is not the same difficulty as tier 5 Troll room. There's different levels in them. So like a level 1 Troll room would probably be more on par with like a level 2 or 3 Lich room, which may be on par with the tier 4 or 5 Kobold room. Which in a lot of ways makes sense, that we need to have some lower level content so you guys can build content for people who aren't, you don't want to have minimum level for every single dungeon be 100. You want to be able to build some weaker stuff for people. But I know there's guys out there that just are gluttons for punishment and want to see what the toughest thing they can kill is. But the trolls, I do have it going up to, I think the top if you get to tier 6 troll. Oh, and the other thing is the trolls are harder to level up the totems because you got to kill trolls to get totems. There's not that many trolls out there, so they'll level up in a much slower manner than liches or other things where you can find places with high spawn counts of them. The kobolds are easier to level up because there's going to be a lot of kobolds out there, and a lot of them are going to be dropping the essences. The other thing, another while I'm on the completely off topic, the other thing on the dungeon stuff that'll be happening this release is the encounter rooms that exist now will not have the actual encounters in them. They'll look like them, but they'll be the decoable versions that remain as they are. There'll be a process where you can go and turn those into an encounter room. So you won't lose all of the ones you have in there, because it was becoming problematic because some people were saying, well, I like my rotunda and I like to have it decoed because we like to use it. We want to use it for like a guild hall type thing. That's a great meeting space. And I didn't want to go and destroy all those and make them so you couldn't deco those in any way anymore. So changing up how that works so you'll actually be able to take the recipe and convert it into the encounter version going forward. And the encounter version will drop some, and the non-encounter version will drop some. It won't just be one version or the other drops. Anyways, back to the other stuff. Oh, troll encounter room. The trolls are coming. What can you tell us? This is amazing. I didn't even know that's what the next question was. What can you tell us about the troll dungeon encounter room that's supposed to be coming in the next release? Where will the room drop? What is the room going to look like? Is it a new room? Which trolls will drop the totem components? Anything else? Jerk. That's how I've always said it. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation.
It is.
Okay, good. So, I just talked about it some. The room is actually the thing that I have, now that I've finished all the troll parts and I've got all their prefabs down, so I can go and just assign and set up all the stuff. It goes really quick once I have it all done, because I have them all, the spawns for them prefabbed, and building it's really easy. I'm working on the room right now. The plan was to make it so it drops only off of the highest tier trolls. It may drop off of Torquedal as a rare drop. It'll drop in the Ruined Keep, the trolls there, which probably will become a more popular place to go and farm stuff, since that has the possibility for quite a few trolls there. But the boss guy there will be dropping the recipe fairly often. Well, not fairly often. He'll be dropping it some. Yeah, and as for the room, it's a pretty big room, as you would expect with trolls in it. The challenge I'm having is trying to come up with a room in a way that it hooks into the others where it doesn't become too easily exploitable, because you can just walk out of the room and leave the trolls behind. So it actually has to be a bigger room because it needs some buffer areas, so you can't just like run to a door. You know, it's not like a 30 by 30 room with a bunch of giant trolls standing in it, because obviously you could just walk out some small doors and you'd be done with it. And they couldn't chase you, or you'd get the crappy experience of, the troll's body is sticking up through the roof and the thing. So it's actually the thing that I've gone back and redesigned on right now and kind of prototyping the play experience for the actual physical room that I'm building out for it. It's a very large room that has a kind of a center area that's more the fight area, and then that leaves like a buffer area around the outside, so there's room for the things, trolls to chase you, and for them to leash back. Again, the troll essences will probably be dropping. There's a chance I might not get the blueprint dropping off those guys until a patch, as you guys know how I usually roll. That meaning that I suck and don't get my stuff done because I always overplan and try to do too much. Let's see, which trolls drop the totem? They will all drop the totem components. Even the weakest trolls, some of them may drop more than one. That's one of those things I continue to look at and try to figure out how to balance. So good questions, troll, or jerk. Totally not to be confused with troll. He's a totally different guy.
He's also in the guild.
Who is your favorite fantasy writer? Oh, who's your favorite fantasy writer? It's one of those sad things. It's not a horrible thing, but I'm actually somewhat dyslexic, And so reading for pleasure can actually be exhausting for me over time. And so I don't read as much as I should, which I know it's important for inspiration. But the stuff I have read, I think I mentioned this on my last stream, that I was a huge Douglas Adams fan, but only because it's easy reading and the humor was there. Quite a bit of Heinlein is another one of my favorites. Yeah, I would love to be able to say that I read all the Tracy Hickman stuff. I know I have friends. I have a friend who runs a Tracy Hickman mud, if you know what muds are. It's all Tracy Hickman themed fiction and stuff from Tracy Hickman. But sadly I did not, just because again I'm not the fastest reader, and it can be honestly somewhat mentally exhausting for me. So I don't get to read as much as I would like, just because it ends up being frustrating. Let's see. And I think I made it through the questions. Yes!
Can I ask you just to read the very top question in the box at least?
Yeah, yes, I will do that.
Just I have a feeling he may have dropped.
A very concerning question, that one?
Yeah.
Just kidding, this isn't a question. April Fools.
Arca loves you, what can I say?
Uh-huh.
What's interesting is the questions that are in there actually follow up a lot of them on what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go through, I've got the box open here. I'll just read them straight out of the box. Underwater swimming, will it ever be a thing? Monsters, dungeons, cities, underwater, tacos and beer. And tacos and beer, since you mentioned EverQuest 1, I mean, that's one of those things from EverQuest 1 there were several scenes in that were amazing purely because it was vertical. Was it Kedge Keep? Was that the one that was the water one where you go there with a raid and people would constantly be dying because they'd be drowning and not noticing they were drowning? So many bugs because all the early EverQuest logic was based around just cast it like in the XZ and then don't worry about the Y, and so you cast spells and you'd be hitting stuff down below you or aggroing stuff down below you that'd come up, a minute later as a massive train. Absolutely love the idea of having the underwater stuff, and there's not really anything preventing it. I think it was just one of those very early decisions that we had you swim on top of the water, and I think that's something we absolutely will take a look at because it does open up a lot of play experiences, especially as we're talking about things like, hey, we're going to be giving you boats and stuff like that, like having a boat system, but then also making it so the only way you can, I'm falling way behind. The only way you can actually swim on water is the kind of crappy swim on the top. And it's not that hard of a challenge. The bigger challenge is matching up, coming up with design and making sure the levels don't have crazy stuff underneath. But if you look at our underwater areas, pretty much all of them, the underwater, the ground and stuff is pretty well done because we know you can see through the water and you can see down there anyway. So there's not a ton of work that would have to be done on that. There'd probably be some deco work for that, but again, yeah, I'd love to do it because it opens up a whole nother thing, and it goes along with our ongoing pirate themes and future boat stuff. Let's see, and I missed Saskatchewan Pirate. Follow, thank you very much. Scan4. That's the first time I've heard that name, but gave us a sub. Thank you very much. End of line. Thank you very much. That should start with the underscores as well, I think. Let's see. Let me read a few more here. What is your favorite type of art in game? I mean, the thing I love the most is kind of the stuff we've been doing here recently. Just going around looking at some of the lots and the decos you guys put together. Admittedly, some of it makes me cry because it's not stellar for performance, but like the way you guys actually, I mean, it's so clear you guys think about the actual, like, if I were living here, this is how I would decorate, this is how I'd want it decoed. You know, if I'm trying to attract people, like I went to Oh, crud, is it Oakenhammer, Oakenshield? No, Oakenhammer. I went to his town here recently. I showed off some stuff in there, and it's so obvious. Like, he sat there and he's looked at it and he's thought about, like, if I were living here, like, if I ran this store, what would I want to attract people? How would I set things up? So I mean, it may not even be the type of art you're talking about, but that's in terms of what the players put together. That's the stuff that just amazes me and also makes the most excited, because it's something that, rather than, it's something we made that we're just handing to you. It's like, here's something where you took something we made and you turned around and made something amazing with it. So it's really, to me, that's the most satisfying stuff. Will there be dungeon room spawners that do not drop from bosses? Yeah, there's some of the ones already don't drop from bosses. Again, as I was mentioning, I will probably be mixing in at very low drop rates the rooms into probably supply bundles. Again, just because that's kind of the dumping ground for, here's some stuff we want to scatter around the world. And it also helps with the whole, open the box and see what you get, and the whole excitement of that aspect of it. But yeah, there'll definitely be some that don't drop from bosses. And the troll one is an example of that it's going to drop from the Obsidian Keep troll, but it'll probably also drop at a very low rate just from any common troll. And that'll be the blueprint for it. Let's see, supply bundles. Here's one from Griffler. When was the last time a member of the dev team opened up a number of bundles, yellow, blue, etc., and was happy with the results? Chests of bundles are accumulated due to the poor results. I open all the blues I get and have gotten nothing more than I get from yellows or grays even. So again, that's one of those things, part of why I just showed you in the editor, if you go back about 30 minutes in the stream, if you're watching this, joining us late, is so you can see one of the challenges we have with it is maybe we need to get more specific with what the supply bundles are, but we try to shoot for the mean, the average. For those who don't know, mean is just the average. Add up all the things in there, multiply them by their chance of dropping, and come up with the average gold that you're going to get out of the bag. And we have to shoot for a mean on those, and we have to base the drop rate around the average gold rate, so that, again, trying to keep track of the economy and not put stuff out there too valuable. As you saw, that was a rare I was looking at earlier, but it was 1,292 gold was the mean. I have opened a ton of them before. I've summoned 100 of them and opened them just as a test to see what I would get, just because sometimes I don't trust the system either. And I do believe the actual value is right on target with what that number says. The problem is, on individual instance opening, you can get screwed so many, 10 times in a row, which immediately makes you feel like this is trash forever. We need to have some more stuff that shows up in it that doesn't inflate the gold value but feels desirable. And some of the type stuff, as I just mentioned, that I'll be putting in there is I'll probably be throwing in some more dungeon blueprint recipes in there. And possibly even some things like some, tier 1 totems that drop, rather than the essence, actually have tier 1 totems drop in those. But again, it still comes down to a lottery, because if we make them always drop something really cool, then, now it's no longer cool because it drops so much. It's always that rarity challenge that we have to try to balance up against.
Sorry, can I just ask, so I understand
Sure.
the kind of mean. Should you not be measuring the mode as well, to make sure that the mode of a grey is less than a yellow, and so on?
Well, I mean, the thing we have to look at from an economy standpoint is we have to look at this not on an individual supply bundle. We have to look on if we have 1,000 supply bundles opened in a day, what is that going to do to the economy? So we can look at the median, and it's one of those things. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at is, for the math guys out there, the median for it is much lower than what the mean is, than what the average is. And then probably if you looked at the standard deviation, because again, there's some things that can appear in those things. It's like, as we saw, there's like, you can get a city lot D that drops in one of those things. That's an 800,000. You can imagine what like the standard deviation bell curve looks like on it. It's crazy. So that's kind of the challenge, is figuring out how to get good stuff in there and make it the kind of the lottery where you get excited when you get something good, but making it also so you don't have to open a million of them to get excited about them. And that it is a challenge, and again, still trying to improve on that. And the main thing trying to do to improve on that is to add in more things, like I was just saying, they're things that are valuable to the players, but they don't have much gold value. And that's really a lot of the stuff we need to work on. That was actually about 4 releases ago, I think. The value of all of the artifacts in the game dropped. And you guys probably, I'm sure people noticed it, and that was the value that they sell to merchants for. You guys probably noticed it, but this was one of the reasons, is trying to figure out how to get more cool stuff into supply bundles and artifacts that was either like we either need to lower the value or we need to lower the drop rate because they're drowning out so much of the other stuff by adding a lot of artificial value to the supply bundles. But yeah, I mean, it's something we're aware of the challenges, and that it's not something that's super satisfying a lot of the time, and continuing to get love and work on it. So not trying to say we think it's great right now. It needs lots of help, but we are trying to help it, and that is, as I mentioned, we're trying to take a release or two where all we do is focus on loot to make loot. You know, we want you to go on an adventure and come back, and at least once in a while, you know, for every 8 hours of play, you want to be able to get an item where you like get an item and go, whoa, this is awesome, I got this item, and it's an upgrade for me, or it's something better for me. And that's right now that's not happening. And some of that is just kind of by our own design, that we've kind of, you know, slit our own wrist or whatever with the players make the best crafted gear. That makes it really tough for us to give you gear. But that is also why I continue to push for more things like the Mossy Branch and those type things that are player crafted item pieces. But we need to get more of those in game. But I think there's also going to be some of the, you know what, some of the best gear that drops in game may not be player created. Now, it may not be apples to apples better, but it'll definitely be, a lot of them will be apples to oranges better. And there's some of those things out there right now where they're apples to oranges better. You know, you can't look at it and say this one has +5 strength and that one's got +10, that one's better. It's all stuff where it gives different benefits, and that's where a lot of the stuff, my challenge has always been going in and trying to make these cool new artifacts and cool new items that feel, you know, they don't feel just like a player crafted weapon. They feel good, but not, you know, they feel different. So, and you can't just put them side by side and say this one better than that one. So anyways, we know it's not perfect. We continue to work on it. Too much RNG. Hi, I was wondering what... Too much RNG. Hi, I was wondering why so much RNG on bosses. I understand you don't want hundreds of items dropping, but when you have killed it over 30 plus times, you did not get one envy bow, for example. How much more do I need to kill it? Thanks from Who Is the Tank. And that is one, this is kind of falls in the same category where we've got the challenge of rarity. How common do we make things so that it feels like you accomplished something when you got it, but it's not so much that you have to kill it 30 times. I agree, 30 times killing something that is not that much fun to kill, like the envy stuff, is not great design. That probably should have been more like a 1 in 5 kill. But again, that's the other challenge is if we make it common drop, then we have to also adjust the balance. You know, we can't make it as good if it's going to drop far more frequently. So again, we know it's not just a simple thing where we can go and turn up a number and it fixes the problem. We turn up the number and it causes a new problem, which is the other challenge that we have and other games have, which is it's not just inflation in terms of the economy, but there's also a challenge of managing the inflation in terms of power of items. And that's kind of one of the things we look at and try to balance. So anyways, I think I'm now 40 minutes over and I got through all those questions. Hopefully I gave you most of the answers. And somebody wants to... Yep, and glad. And again, for those people who are like, why are you playing favorites with, let's see, Order of Chivalry, and I see it's mostly Order of Chivalry, Lunar Dragons, Lormus, all those guys. The reason I'm here is because someone asked me to be here. And this is actually the second time I've dropped in on them and done Q&A for them live. So again, if you want me to come join, sit in on a guild thing, help you guys out, make you an artifact or whatever, this is not me playing favorites. This is they asked. Guess how many times I've declined one of these things? I've probably declined a few role-playing events, but I almost always come to these things. If I can make it, again, my daughter is #1 priority by a mile, but if I can make it to these events, I will make it. And again, I'm trying to make more time for these things now that we're working from home and I have more free time of my own. So again, thank you guys for having me. And for those on the stream, I'll hang out a little bit longer on the stream and just drop out of the TeamSpeak channel that I'm in. But if
Don't
anybody...
forget you still have Christmas presents.
Oh, I still have Christmas presents to grab. Okay. Yeah, that's down the courtyard, I think.
We moved them.
Oh, you moved them? Okay.
But you can get them later.
All right, I want my Christmas presents. Again, to the guys on the TeamSpeak stuff and probably watching the stream, thank you so much for joining me. Where'd my dog go? Oh, there he is. Hi,
Thank
buddy.
you for joining us.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming up with good, non-trolly, well-thought-out questions, and hopefully I gave at least decent answers for you guys. Again, a lot of times it's tough for me to say I gave great answers because it's not the answer that you guys want, and I know that because it's not the answer that I want. It's just the current state of things, and we continue to work and improve things, as you guys know how we roll. For those who are new on the stream, I think we got like 150 viewers new to the game. We do things a little differently. Oh, I'm way behind here. Let's see. No, I'm only one behind. Frailty Fascio sub, thank you very, very much. On Shroud of the Avatar, we do things differently. We've always done things differently. We want to... we got the game in your hands like as soon as possible and start taking feedback from you guys. And every release, all we do is keep adding more features, more bug fixes, more polish, more scenes, more skills, more whatever. And that's how we're going to keep going. As we come up on episode 2, what that really is going to mean is we're going to keep slow rolling out features as we go along. You guys are seeing them come on every month. We do a release every month, and we add in new features, we add in new content, new polish, and that's how we're going to keep rolling. That's episode 2 features. People always ask, when's episode 2 go live? And it's like, well, episode 2 is kind of live now, but really the big features will be coming on later. Some of the stuff we talked about today. And then thank you, Viper Mortali. But the thing that'll really define episode 2, that is the thing you need to have purchased episode 2 for, is all the scene content that'll be coming online. Again, we're still prototyping some of the overworld stuff, as in the possible replacement to what is now, like you guys see, Novia. But that'll start coming online. We're trying to work out, see what the best we can do. Thank you, Clairvoyant Goose, for the follow. But we're trying to prototype out all what we can do and see what we can get away with, because it looks like with some of the stuff coming out, again, this is one of those possible pipe dreams of Unity telling us something cool is coming, but then it doesn't really come. We should be able to break up, if you've seen the picture of the aisles, it's kind of the serpent aisle type thing, but it's really kind of some streaky, curvy pieces where it's like 4 aisles. We're actually, one of the things we're looking at doing is making each one of those aisles, rather than it being a Novia style map, like a dual scale map, making it a single scale map where each one of those chunks is in the range of 4 kilometer by 1.5 to 2 kilometer wide, and make them actual scenes where encounters can happen there, and then the cities are, will take you into scenes off of those, and dungeons will take you into scene off those. But again, that's part of why we haven't rushed out any scene content, is because we still have great ideas and trying to see what's possible and make sure we do it right for episode 2. That's one of the things we regret the most about episode 1 is, well, one, I think most people know the quest system is pretty sloppy in terms of it's a cool quest, lots of cool writing, cool story. Richard and Tracy did amazing work on the story, but we did not do a great job of the implementation of it. And thank you again to Senegal and U235 Sentinel for the follows, and everybody should be following. Follow. Give me your follows. But that is, we're trying to get the quest system right for episode 2, and we're trying to get the scenes right, because again, there's a lot of cool scenes out there that you guys may not have seen because you got bored walking through 50 mediocre to bad scenes. We're trying to get rid of the 50 mediocre to bad scenes and just get in the the dozen to 2 dozen really good scenes, and then give you guys the tools to make a cool world. So anyways, for those who haven't heard me talk about it,
has there been any movement on the discussion about what's going to happen to our characters?
So that's one of those things apparently I mentioned a couple times, and everybody freaked out and thought it was like a done deal. Scooby-Doo! Thank you for the 300 bits. Thank you. We have not had our meeting yet on what the plan is for it. One of the things, this is just an idea that I've tossed around because it would solve a lot of problems for us. It may be too much pain for us to actually push on you guys. You guys might cause us too much pain. Is the idea that when you move into an episode 2 land, that between episode 1 and episode 2, you have an episode 2 version of your character, and when you move there, that it actually is kind of a soft wipe. Your episode 1, when you're over there, you're still level 110, whatever, Grandmaster, whatever. When you move to episode 2, you are reset to a low level, and then there'd be some things that carry over, like your experience. What skills you'd learn would carry over. Your experience would carry over, but only in a rested experience type situation, where basically if you had 1 billion experience points before, and the new one you'll have 1 billion experience points, which means when you earn experience in the new game, you get twice as much because you're getting rested experience as well. So it basically will double the rate at which you gain experience. It would give us, that option is appealing to us in a lot of ways, but it's also one that is scary to us, and I know it's scary to a lot of players who don't really want to have to think about it. But it would allow us, there's a lot of stuff we want to do for balance, but again, we can balance episode 2 all we want to, but if you have the same character in episode 1 over in episode 2, it doesn't matter if we balance episode 2, you can still go back and take advantage of whatever poor balance there is in episode 1. So there's some appealing parts to it. My guess is that it will not happen. Maybe it could happen like for an episode 3. That's the type of thing, again, if we were to switch to Unreal, that would almost certainly have to happen in some form. But for episode 2, it likely won't happen. I'm not saying it's off the table, but it's definitely scary enough that it needs lots of talk before anything's final on it. Anything else?
You mean we shouldn't all just run and scream and rage quit?
No.
Okay.
And again, even if we did do that, it would be
User in your channel.
you wouldn't be forced to do it. You can always play episode 1 content and still be the same old thing. It would just be for episode 2 stuff. And again, that's it has a lot of appealing stuff to it, but because episode 2, the current plan is minimal content, it's less appealing because then we wouldn't be giving you enough content to fully level up your character. So what episode 2 will more likely be is, rather than it being that kind of a virtual soft wipe when you're in episode 2, it would be a more of an escalation type thing, where stuff in episode 2 is whatever was in episode 1 plus plus. So there'll be better gear options, better crafting options, more powerful, and that's kind of the model that most games take. Is they make it so you don't lose your gear, but guess what? Your old gear is obsolete compared to the new gear that's out there. Yep. Throw it away. Just throw away your gear.
Yeah.
But it'll be that type of decision. We'll have to come up with something as a good way to make it balance. But again, for us, the reason we would love to be able to do a soft virtual wipe of some sort, is just so we can fix a lot of the mistakes we made in episode 1 balance. But again, that may wait until episode 3 and come with a lot bigger changes. Episode 2 plan is actually, the continent for it is fairly small, which was, again, because when we talked about that's the thing we want to do for episode 2, is continue to push more and more character or player content, let you guys have stuff. But if you look at episode 3, I know you guys are all only even thinking about episode 2, but try and keep an eye on things in the future. Episode 3 actually is the size of both episode 1 and episode 2 combined in terms of landmass size. So we're trying not to get too far ahead and think about that. But that's always been the plan for it, is to episode 3 would be a larger thing. But again, that may lead into the episode 3 is where we move to an open, completely open world, seamless world rather than high level and scene zoning type stuff. So again, lots of stuff to think about for the future, but right now I'm focused on dungeons and getting the trolls right and getting the kobold stuff right, and still need to get their loot drops cleaned up and not sucking. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, Chris, can I ask you a quick question? Just want to say thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
It's greatly appreciated. So for episode 2, I bought a couple bundles in game,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the village bundles, and we're supposed to get, you know, all the stuff that comes with it. And one of them was for taking your character into episode 2.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to actually find it. I've looked at my account. I mean, I don't mean to throw you out, but there's no way of finding out these questions.
Yeah, we have. I mean, that's one of the flags on characters, is I can look and see if you are episode 2 flagged. That's been in there a while, but that may be one of those things that we have data for, but we don't expose to the web interface. Some of them you may know they have it because they specifically bought the package and it shows up that way, but I'm not sure how it even flags you guys. This is one that is, I've mentioned we have a small team that's been together for a long time. One of the guys who's been on the team for 7+ years and is now taking a sabbatical to while he travels around is Tassilo, our web guy. So we've been a little undermanned on web stuff, and that
Right,
may just be one that it's.
I don't want to just send in emails because I know the new guy for that support is inundated.
Yeah, and that's the new person for support is Wizard Smoke's wife, which is awesome because she's awesome, and she also has Wizard Smoke to lean on in case she has questions, because you can imagine how overwhelming it would be for someone who wasn't, you know, super intimately involved with the game for years to try and take on being the CS person for it. So having somebody's wife on the team who's also competent and tech person, BRCS person, is perfect. But the problem is, as I mentioned earlier, Wizard Smoke's on a 2.5-week vacation, is out of town. So right after we got a new CS person, we lost our CS person for 2.5 weeks. So
which is fine. That's why I mean, it's not even a big deal until
Yeah.
episode 2 comes in.
yeah, but my guess is you probably have it, and it just doesn't show properly on your account. I can always go look for people if anybody's really curious about it.
Right, it's on my alt. It's not on my main character. So
Oh, okay.
I have it because I'm a Kickstarter.
What about the titles? You have the visionary title, right?
I don't know. I'm not worried about titles and all that. I just care
No,
about
but that's a
episode
flag.
2.
Yeah, see, some of the stuff you guys know more about than me. That, again, I'm kind of isolated because I know I can always go figure it out just by looking at the flags on your character and the character data in my dev tool. But yeah, it may not be exposed to you guys, and that's probably one we need to get on our web. And I will make a note on that right now to make sure we do have some way for you guys to see.
Great, thank you very much.
Hey, Atos, on those new islands that are coming in, is that where all the cats are?
There will be no cats in episode 2. Episode 2 will be
Oh.
completely populated by small greyhounds.
In fact, we're moving some of the cats
Oh,
from
okay.
episode 1 when episode 2 comes out, right?
Aren't they going to remove all the cats?
You remember the great cat slaughter event of what was it, like 1674 or whatever that was?
429 or something.
Yeah, I forget when it was, but yeah, that's back in effect. For those who are new on the stream and don't know what we're talking about and may have seen that that loading screen tip come up, that was I don't even remember what episode or what release that was, like release 30 or something. There was a brief time when there was a bug that caused the cats to be attacked by all NPCs, and so anywhere you'd go there'd be slaughtered cats everywhere, and like the cats would spawn in and immediately be slaughtered by NPCs. So that's what they're talking about. That lasted for about a day, and we had so many people writing in like, "Oh my God, this is hideous." So yeah, that's what that's referring to.
Refuge on the new islands.
Well, but it also meant we used to have tameable cats.
Mm-hmm.
Now we no longer have tameable cats because of that. And we don't have tameable. There's no thing you can RP as a cat. You have wolves that can be like dogs, but no cats.
Cancel my subscription.
Cancel my subscription.
Well, I was also hoping that, in the wild new lands,
User in your channel.
that perhaps that's where all the panthers and tigers and, fightable cat creatures live.
Yeah, and we've actually got models for a lot more cats than what we have in the game, so that's definitely possible. Again, some of these we're going to be looking at. It may not even be obvious to you guys, but some of the things that'll be visible, like in episode 2, may be more dependent upon the quality of the art that they're made. Because we've got some pretty crappy art out there for some things, and we're trying to make sure episode 2 we're keeping a higher standard. So yeah, there may be new creatures in there just because we don't think the old ones are high enough quality, and we want to switch them out with something else.
Are we gonna get the obsidian bear encounter rooms?
So yeah, bears are something that has to move over, and the bear, in my opinion, is, again, it's better than it was. Like, it used to have a slot in its neck where you could see through the inside of the bear, and there's lots of other problems, but yeah, the bear's he's gotta be over there just because bears are such a common, well-known thing, and also things that are already tamed pets. Like, we've got to move those over, because if not, you can't have your tamed bear over there, because we don't want to show you the bear model. So yeah, some of that stuff just needs to get touched up and get a pass on it in terms of quality. Oh, and I've been neglecting my Twitch guys a bit here. Scooby-Doo did the follow. I thanked him. Cambria Stormland follow. Also, I will be doing, since I've been forgetting to pimp it, and a lot of you guys probably haven't heard me say this, if you buy let's see, hold on a second. If you spend $85 buying a crown package during my live stream, actually I'll cut it off at 5 p.m. our time. I'll go look and see, because I'm not sure when I'm going to quit streaming pretty soon here. But 5 p.m. our time, so up to an hour from now. If you buy an $85 package during that time, and you live in the United States, I'm sorry, European people, I love you guys a lot, but it still costs us a lot to ship to you guys. But I will send you a coin and some office swag that has ranged from some random stickers to a few little dolls, and actually lately I've been stuffing network cables in there as I continue to try to clear out the junk. But because we have thousands of network cables. But if you spend $85, I'll give you a coin or a couple of coins and some swag. And if you if you buy 2 of them, if you buy 170, I will pick a T-shirt. I will write you and get your address and T-shirt size and send you. I will warn you though, we are down to extra large through small. We no longer have 2XL, I don't believe. I'm going to go through the box again, but last I looked, I don't think we have 2XL.
What's the time frame to do this?
Within the next hour. I try to do it for my stream so I can go and tell people.
From the Crown Shop again, right?
Just buy it from the Crown Shop. You can buy it through Amazon. You can buy it through PayPal. You can buy it through credit card.
Thank you.
And I will email you. I will go and pull the list of people who did that and email it. On the last stream, I actually was doing it while it was happening because I also did some box packing for shipping some boxes. But I didn't want to take up time this stream because I knew I was going to have a ton of questions to answer. So I did not do it during the stream. I'm going to pull things immediately after the stream and get them shipped out in the morning. And do we have to be on the stream? Someone asked. No, you don't have to be on the stream to take advantage of that. I'm just doing it when I'm streaming. Again, as my little reward to people who are watching the stream. But I don't have any way to know if you are watching the stream.
I'm watching the stream.
All right. Well, if you buy something, anybody who buys something during the stream will get the extra goodies. Again, though, only if you live in the United States. I'm very sorry, Canada, Europe, everybody else. But until I can figure out cheaper ways to ship T-shirts and coins, it is not practical for me to send them over there because it can be $35 just to ship a T-shirt. Again, to everybody out there, thank you. I'm going to go do what I said is my favorite thing in the world, which is spend some time with my 5-year-old. And I'm getting used to that, by the way. She was 4 until last week. But
get her wrapping.
Congrats.
yeah, and anybody who's a Facebook friend of mine has seen some of the video stuff. You will see a video that's one of the videos I shared recently was when we were walking back, as I mentioned, from the barbecue place, and I was holding the camera because she was riding on my shoulders and she was freestyling on my shoulders and dancing on the shoulders and singing. It's stuff that only a parent and a grandparent would like, but still can be funny sometimes. But again, thank everybody for showing up. Thanks for all the follows. Again, that I love the subscriptions and the bitcoins. Oh my goodness, Winfield, man, you try and get back in the running there. Thank you, Winfield Pax Lair, for 5,000 bits. And thank you, Vahiran, for the sub, which definitely I'm not going to kick 5,000 bits out of bed. I'm not even sure what that turns into, but I know it's a lot. But love the follows, because again, the #1 purpose for this stream is to both all the guys who are already in game to help answer. Hey, Tacos and Beer, thank you for 300 bits. But it's to answer your questions and try to get feedback from you guys. It's not a one-way thing of me telling you stuff. I like hearing the questions is very important for me, as you guys hopefully saw on the stream. But it's really to expand our user base and make the game better. So the more people we get watching, as I've already threatened, if I don't start getting my streams bigger here, this one is much bigger, by the way, than the last ones I've had in terms of viewership. But I will be doing wearing a bikini while I do this and doing a dance game for you guys. Or worse, I may start singing. I haven't done a song in a while.
We've heard that, please.
I'm sorry, the bikini is meant to get more people to watch?
Well, all I know is when I go to Twitch, the things that always shows me on the front page are always somebody is wearing a bikini and a dance. That was the one this morning that when I got on to look, there was a girl who was doing a dance game while wearing a bikini was the top Twitch stream. So, if it works for her, it's going to work for me, right?
Can I just ask one little thing here?
Yeah, fire away.
Well, like you got Shroud of the Avatar t-shirts. Why don't you put them on Amazon store and then just sell them through the Amazon store?
So the stuff I'm getting rid of.
Take care of shipping and stuff.
If I had,
so you don't have to pay the shipping costs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, if I had hundreds. Well, so one, there's some stuff people don't know about Amazon store. You can put stuff on the Amazon store, but Amazon actually charges you a monthly fee to store that stuff. For us to get the variety of shirts we would need on there, we'd have to pay quite a bit per month just to store the stuff there. But the bigger reason I am not considering doing that is the shirts that I have. I've got about probably 40, 50-ish shirts left, and they're just from a smattering of different events and different shows. But a lot of them are stuff that, like, there's I've got some launch party t-shirts left over. I've got some that are, there's a handful of t-shirts that are our team t-shirts that we did a 5K, and so these were the team t-shirts we had that are some of the cooler ones. They're like the super breathable jogging shirt type stuff. But they have like Team Avatar, and then they have some, I don't know why I'm talking about this stuff. I can just go grab one and show you. But anyways, it's a random smattering of different shirts. We don't plan on buying doing another big shirt order until we get closer to the end of the year for episode 2, and then maybe that's the time where we could consider putting some on the store. But for right now, I'm just trying to use them to, again, I've got several large boxes in here. I mean, you guys can see behind me, I'm just trying to unbox my house at this point. And getting those t-shirts out to you guys seems like the absolute best option. So
you can also order off of Relics by Reeled on the website.
Absolutely. Good plug. Go buy.
Buying crowns count?
What was that?
will buying crowns count? Like $85 worth of crowns?
Yeah, $85 of crowns is if you buy $85 of crowns, I'll give you a challenge coin
User joined your channel.
and some other random swag, which yesterday, like I said, I was packing it on the air if you want to see some examples of what I have around here. If you buy two $85 crown packages, then I will send you a free t-shirt. And again, you get to keep the crowns. It's not like you have to send me the crowns. I'm not asking you to send me 10,000 crowns for them. Just buy the crowns during my stream, and I will send these to you. For the U.S. people, I've got it down so I can send T-shirts for about $3, and the other things I can send for like $2. So again, I wish I could do this for European guys. I know we have a lot of European followers out there, and we love you guys, but it's just expensive.
I got a bunch of
User joined your
whispers
channel.
about the relics by Reeled. If you go on Shroud of the Avatar's main site, go to store, you'll see the bundles, add-on. Down at the bottom says merchandise. You can buy t-shirts, mugs, cup, the challenge coins, all kinds of stuff.
Yep, go check out the Relics by Real. He's, I mean, that's part of the other reason is we didn't want to. It's no secret we're a small team. Then we consider ourselves to be pretty efficient, and part of the reason we think we're efficient is because we don't try to take on stuff we know we can't do. And that's a hard lesson learned in some other ways, as you see these things back here that I still have to ship. You can actually see there were some, let's see if I can do this, there were some there that, look, look, got a little smaller. I've actually shipped some. But speaking of taking on things that we can't manage, that's way too much work and not a good use of our time. That's why we have guys, we love guys like Relics by Real who are kind of on the side but helping us out and taking care of those things. So, all right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to get off here. Again, anybody who purchases one $85 crown package in the next 52 minutes will get challenge coins, which are real metal coins. Some of them are by Frank. Some of them are things that we'd hand out at conventions and stuff like that if you missed us at those. If you buy two, I will get you a t-shirt. Again, I only have small, medium, large, and extra large. I think I'm all out of 2XLs. So 2 crown packages and I'll get those. And again, you get to keep the crown packages. This is just an added thank you for watching the stream and supporting us and bringing in viewers. And again, thanks to all the guys out there who help so many different ways. Again, big thanks to Tacos and Beer, who just ran a great stream and did a great job bringing in some new people. All those guys add up, and that's the real reason I'm streaming here, is because I want to get people exposed to the game. I want them to understand it's more than just a game. It's a great game if you give it a little time, but it's also being part of the dev experience and getting to talk to devs and helping us figure out what to fix in the game, rather than just you guys sitting back and playing a game and having no say in what goes on. So again, looks like I've been streaming for 3 hours and 8 minutes. Woohoo! I'm pretty sure I don't get paid by the hour, but I am going to call it a day and go play with my 5-year-old and my dog. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And people want me more of these events,
Thank you.
just invite me and I will come join. And for those who bought t-shirts, I will get those packaged up tonight so I can send them off with the wife in the morning, so she can drop them in the mailbox for me, because I work from home and I don't leave the house. Okay, I do leave the house some. But again, thanks so much. Thanks to all the new subscribers, the new follows, the new bit guys out there. Thank you so much, Winfield, and so many of the other guys out there who contribute to the game in so many different ways. Thank you, Minerva, for inviting me. Thanks to the guild for having me. And again, see you guys in game. Talk to you later.
Take care.
Take care.